7 at 7, a children's TV presenter denies involvement in his fiancée's death. NPower payers face price hikes, and Britney's on the brink of disaster. It's 7 o'clock. I'm Mark McQuillan. Children's TV presenter Mark Spate insists he had nothing to do with his fiancée's death. The body of 31-year-old actress Natasha Collins was found at the couple's home in St John's Wood yesterday. Police think cocaine may have been involved. Spate, who presented arts programme Smart, has been bailed on suspicion of murder, and this comes as a statement tonight from Collins' mum says the family is absolutely distraught. Nearly 7 million people in the UK are about to see a steep increase in the cost of their energy. NPower customers will pay 17% extra for gas, and electricity bills will go up by 13%. Other companies are now expected to follow suit. Jeff Slaughter from price comparison site uswitch.com has told LBC customers should shop around.
The general rule of thumb is, if you pay by direct debit, you take both fuels from the same supplier and you take their most competitive online tariff, and these generally aren't available on the doorstep or over the phone when your energy supplier contacts you. You're pretty much guaranteed to get a better price than you're on currently if you're paying on a standard plan.
Britney Spears may be stopped from seeing her children altogether after fighting over them with her ex-husband. Police found her intoxicated and locked in a standoff at her home with Kevin Federline in the early hours. She was stretchered out and is now under a medical hold in LA. Fox News reporter Casey Stegall is outside Cedar-Sinai Medical Center.
We understand that K-Fed's attorneys were going to be going into the courtroom and demanding full and sole custody of those two young children, at least for now. Up until this point, Britney and K-Fed had been sharing the children.
At least 98 wards in 44 hospitals have had to close to new patients because of the norovirus outbreak. But no region seems to have escaped the effects of the bug, which causes vomiting and diarrhoea. Research suggests the virus has cost UK business £80 million in the past 2 days because of staff illness. The Foreign and Commonwealth Office has changed its advice on travel to Pakistan. The assassination of former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto sparked 4 days of rioting across the country. The FCO had warned against all but essential travel to the Islamic Republic, but says life is returning to normal in major cities. In sport, England's new manager Fabio Capello will watch Aston Villa host Manchester United in the FA Cup tomorrow. Capello's also scheduled to see Liverpool at Luton Town on Sunday, before taking up his post at the FA's Soho Square headquarters on Monday. And Ofcom may hold an inquiry after Catherine Tate's Christmas special became December's most complained about programme. Apparently, Tory Mid-Bedfordshire MP Nadine Dorries described the show as a production of profuse expletives. And London's weather overnight, rain moving across London this evening, getting heavy at times but clearing in the early hours with lows of 7 degrees. You're with LBC. It's 7:03.
This is Alan Joyce in the LBC 97.3 Travel Centre. Still looking at big delays on the M1 if you're coming into town from Luton Airport down towards the M25. There's been an accident in the roadworks section and it's still blocking 2 lanes between Junction 9 at the A5 and Junction 8 for Hemel Hempstead. The satellite screen's flashing up 40-minute delays there. On the A40, there's 1 lane blocked away from town just after the Greenford flyover where a lorry's broken down. It's causing delays back to Hanger Lane and affecting the North Circular heading up from Ealing Common. In Dagenham, the A13 has 1 lane close heading away from town with a broken down lorry on the Goresbrook interchange. And in Loughton, Woodridden Hill is now partly blocked with an accident between the Wake Arms roundabout and the M25. Clapham Park Road in Clapham is closed both ways between the High Street and Bedford Road with a burst water main. If you're heading onto the tubes, the Northern Line has severe delays between Morden and Kennington. The Metropolitan Line has delays on the Amersham branch, and on the trains, First Great Western are not running between West Ealing and Greenford, with up to 20-minute delays on other trains from Paddington via Reading. That's all after a signal failure at Drayton Green. Your next updates in 15 minutes. LBC 97.3 Travel with Confused.com, the online search engine for car insurance.
Are you disappointed with your endowment policy? Have you received a letter saying your endowment may not pay off your mortgage? If so, and you're thinking of surrendering your policy back to the life company, make sure you call AAP first to see how much more it could be worth. David Taylor from Oxford sold his policy through AAP and used the money to pay off his mortgage.
I'd asked my life company how much I could get for my policy. They told me £16,000. I called AAP and I got nearly £2,000 more. It was simple and quick and AAP handled everything without any charge.
David is one of thousands who've sold their endowment policies through the UK's largest buyer. Call AAP now on 0845 073 1960. That's 0845 073 1960.
LB LBC 97.3.
Absolutely.
0845 6060 973. Nick Abbott.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
It comes to something when you start feeling sorry for Dennis Wise. He was driving along with his heavily pregnant wife and family, minding his own affairs, when a gang of youths started pelting his car with stones. Out he jumped and ran after them, making a citizen's arrest on one lad who managed to wriggle away. Guess who the police wanted to interview when they finally arrived on the scene? Some distance away, the daughter of a Second World War RAF pilot responded to a gang of youths who were desecrating a memorial to the war dead. This had been done on many occasions over the past years, with no interest expressed by the forces of law and order. They carved their names in benches, daubed defensive slogans on the stone crosses, and rode bikes over the wreaths left for the dead. After seeing this happen for years on end, this woman went out to confront the gang. All 15 of them, who surrounded her, and said things of the order of, "What you gonna do about it?" So she cuffed one about the ear, allegedly. The preferred method of rebuke from when I were a lad, it were grand. The kids, in full possession of their rights, took the number plate of her car and called the cops. And guess who they arrested when they got there? You probably don't need me to narrow it down to a multiple choice. You'd have guessed correctly if you'd been deaf. It's a new year, but the song remains the same. It's the country that invented the policeman, whose main task now seems to be the facilitation of crime. Be in awe. It's the full majesty of the law. And you don't have to be a Daily Mail foamer to be sick about this, right? Still, never mind, eh? Mustn't grumble. So I was driving around town today, and I got the feeling that everyone had come back today. Because this past week, there was precious few cars on the road. It didn't seem like anybody was out there. Oh, it was bliss. Parking spaces and green lights as far as the eye could see. But today, I felt much more hemmed in. I thought the entirety of London came back today for a busy start on Monday morning. All of London is going to be back on Monday. Is everybody happy?
Unhappy, unhappy, very unhappy, 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 very, 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 very unhappy.
No offence, Rise, but is there a sugar shortage around here?
Do you know what it is? It's because there's no teaspoons. They've just got the really big spoon, so I don't want to heap too much in there.
Yeah, believe me, you can't heat too much in there. You seem to be...
I'm limiting myself just because I don't want to over-sugar your tea.
Right.
Because that's something you can't correct without making a whole new cup.
Oh, well, that's very true, yes. You can't take it away, but you can add more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So would you like some more sugar?
No, don't worry about me. I'll just suffer. I'm not one to complain.
What? I can't get you sugar then.
No, really. 0845 6060 973. I don't believe there's any excuses for a quiet board this evening, because this is what people like me have been suffering this last couple of weeks now. Over Christmas, it's very difficult to be a talk show host because there isn't anybody around. Nobody calls in, by which I mean nobody. Sitting looking at a dead board all show long, and you're thinking, Struth, is that the time? I've got to keep talking for another 3 hours, so I'll say it again. And I don't believe there is any excuse anymore, because London was packed today. So it's 0845 6060 973. You don't have to wait for me to give you a topic. You just jump in with whatever it is that may be on your mind. There was a survey in one of the magazines today, I said, desperately trying to find it, Anti-Icon, there it is right there, about people who are in the news on a regular basis that shouldn't be, that have no reason to be on our minds. And top of the Britain's Anti-Icon list, Blake Fielder Civil, who's one of these double-barreled, very middle-class, well-to-do types who pretends that he's like a working-class oik, like, you know, man of the people, all of that. Blake Fielder Civil. If you have a double-barreled name, you can't get away with it. Arena magazine, are they still going? Who buys Arena magazine, or indeed any of these men's magazines? I mean, I know why you would buy Nuts and Zoo. It's for their in-depth political writing.
What?
Or the giant amount of boobs that are everywhere. And really, I don't really understand the popularity of that, because there are magazines that just deal in that don't give you, what briefcase you should be carrying this season. But the whole concept of men's, or just magazines in general, are bizarre to me. You read any magazines, boys?
No.
Well, that's that conversation then. Arena magazine carried out a poll, and Arena is so old now. It's I can remember it used to be the star of the 80s. I can even remember some of their front covers. Why? How are they still going? What do they do? Clothes? What else? There'll be articles about that Lewis Hamilton, I betcha. In fact, if we could rustle up last month's copy, I bet I could tell you exactly what it is from cover to cover. How to... he's flying onto the internet to see if he can rustle up the... They won't put the entirety of the magazine on the internet, because otherwise why would anybody buy it? But if you can get their front page, I bet it'll have Lewis Hamilton on the front page. It'll have 20 ways in which doing sit-ups will get you more sex. It'll have top push-up bras for women, special colour section inside. All right. Go on, click that. Oh, you click the front page to make it bigger, and it actually gets smaller with advice that you should pay for it if you want to read it. Ain't a library, mate. All right, I'll just carry on regardless. I just find it extraordinary that magazines like that can survive. How do they do it? Chernobyl, the new Ibiza? ? No, I don't think so. Anyway, to press on. Arena magazine carried out a poll to find where anti-celebrity feelings run strongest, asking readers which male celebrities least deserved their place in the spotlight. Mr. Fielder Civil, on remand in Pentonville Prison, awaiting trial for perverting justice, headed the top 10 as the worst husband ever. What does he do, by the way? Fielder Civil, is he a musician, or what does he actually do?
That's the big question.
Or does he just do Amy, and that's the reason that it's in the papers all the time? What does he do?
I've got no idea. He might be just famous for being famous. All
those parties he goes to, probably.
Yeah, but he's invited to parties, surely, because of what he does, other than doing Amy. Is he not a musician of some sort? Like,
What's his name?
Blake Fielder Civil. What kind of a name is that, by the way?
How... maybe he's just descended from royalty or something.
Well, it sounds that way, yeah. How upper class does that sound? Blake, first name. Fielder Civil, double-barreled second. He is now the worst husband ever, according to this list. If your wife is partial to a nice bit of heroin, says Arena, then you should probably help her out by abstaining from drugs yourself. Not standing on the sidelines chanting, "Plunge it down, you Zulu warrior," or whatever it is junkies shout to each other. It also mocked his fashion sense, lamenting that, along with fellow hat botherer Pete Doherty, who managed not to make it onto the list, Fielder Civil has made the trilby untouchable for any self-respecting gent. Men don't wear hats anymore. Bizarrely in this country, the only hat that is acceptable to stride out in is a baseball hat. A hat from a sport that we don't play, nor have any interest in. Isn't that bizarre?
I don't wear baseball caps.
No, but if you did have to have a hat... I mean, I've got a selection of hats at home, most of which are baseball caps, but that's just to keep the sun out my eyes.
What sun?
Well, yeah, that's a good point, yeah. I forgot about that. I'll get through that, the rest of that in a minute, but it would be rude not to take this call now. Weybridge, hello, John.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Are you serious that woman got arrested for cuffing one of those youths around the ear hole?
Let's have a look.
Basically.
The daughter of a Second World War RAF... actually, I'm nudging up against a break. I'll come back with that, and with you afterwards. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Oh, right, well, that's... Everything's going swimmingly well. It's 7:15. Here's Travel Now with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick, and if you're on...
Well, let's get back to it.
Yes, yes, John. Now, you were talking to me about this woman who wasn't... this story will be all over the papers tomorrow. Only one paper had this today, as far as I could tell.
Well, I just don't know how we've become so morally bankrupt.
No, I don't either.
You know, the police... I mean, how? How could you possibly arrest an old lady who's trying to stop a bunch of vandals desecrating a war grave instead of the vandals who are desecrating the war grave?
Now, this might be simplistic to say it, but I believe this is the result of being run by lawyers. Because this country has been governed by a lawyer for the last 10 years, and I think that's what you get.
Is that really it, do you think?
Well...
Do you really think that people aren't able to make a sensible judgment anymore about whether somebody's doing something right or something wrong?
Partly, I think it's that sensible judgments have been almost outlawed. You're not allowed to make, as a policeman, I would imagine, policemen and women who are listening to this could call me up and tell me exactly what the situation is, but I don't believe that you're actually allowed to make a value judgment by yourself anymore. You have to follow the rules.
But would the general public object? It's I mean, if you took a big sort of poll and said, right, should these kids have got a clip round the ear from this old lady, and should they have been arrested? 99% of the public would say yes.
I think 99% of the public would say that it would be perfectly acceptable to strap them to a cross and whip them till they pass out.
So who's in charge of the country? Why are they doing this? Why can they not see that this is completely and utterly morally bereft?
John, stories like this appear every day. And every day these stories are received with open mouth. Huh?
This is the first opportunity I've got to come up and whinge about it.
Well, yeah, but we do whinge about this to ourselves. We read these stories and we tut to ourselves and then we turn the page and are glad that it's not actually happening to us.
But surely the great and the good listen to programmes like this, like you, Nick Ferrari in the morning, these people. And they must listen to it. Surely they must get a handle on what the country feels about this sort of thing.
You'd have to be on drugs not to know that the country is annoyed that the law seems to be on the side of the people who are breaking it.
I despair, really.
If you'd have to think that if you were a conspiracy theorist, which I am, you'd have to think that it is actually doing lawyers a favour by bringing the situation to what we have at the moment, because it's making money for lawyers. A clip around the ear doesn't make any lawyers any money. Sending somebody to court for clipping someone around the ear, well, it's trouble scotches all round, isn't it?
I remember when I was a small boy, and I was about 14 years old, I was running down the road with a garden fork, back from a bonfire party, quite innocently, about 8 o'clock in the evening, and these two policemen pulled me over and said, "So what are you doing with this fork in the middle of the night?" I said, "Well, I'm going home with this garden fork. I've just been to a bonfire party." And they took me home to my mum and dad, and I got a sound beating for being brought home by the police. Oh. And I really would like that to happen again, I think, generally. I think that's how we should sort of behave.
Well, it seems a little unreasonable to give you a sound beating just for coming back with... what are you going to do, leave the garden fork there?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, I was going to, misappropriate a garden fork.
Yeah. Then they would have beat you.
But you know what I mean. It's a kind of sort of upbringing, that gives you a sort of sense of right and wrong.
You shrug your shoulders and you put your palms upwards and you're virtually rendered speechless. I don't get it. Neither does anybody else. No one's come up with a good explanation as to why we've found ourselves in this position. So I'll just have to assume that it's because we're run by lawyers.
What, Sherry and her crew, eh?
Well, Tony, specifically. All right, thanks a lot, John. I'll read this story out in full now, all right. The number is 0845 6060 973. The tale is that the daughter of a Second World War RAF pilot was last night charged with assault after allegedly slapping a boy that she believed had been vandalising a remembrance garden. Julie Lake, 50, claims the 15-year-old was one of a number of youths who had attacked the memorial in the village, dedicated to those killed fighting for Britain. Her grandfather also died in the First World War, and she felt it was her duty to intervene. Mrs. Lake was arrested after giving a boy whom she believed to be the ringleader a talking to and a cuff around the ear just before Christmas. Before her arrest, Mrs. Lake said that she had become frustrated by youths vandalising the garden at Mangots Field near Bristol. She said the memorial is a sacred place. It's like a grave. How dare these youngsters tarnish the memories of those who made a sacrifice for future generations? I've called the police. I've tried to talk to these kids, but I've got nowhere. I lost my temper in frustration after 2 years of trying to get something done. And immediately the police are after me. It's ridiculous, she says. Yesterday she voluntarily went to Staple Hill Police Station in Bristol, flanked by 15 Royal British Legion members who went to support her. Outside, she said, long after this is over, we will continue our fight against antisocial behaviour. I'm ready for the police, and I'm actually quite looking forward to it. Free the Mangotsfield 1. I'm going to get a badge made up. Mrs. Lake had previously claimed 15 youths surrounded her. 15. She's 50. And mockingly asked if her husband, who was in their car, was going to rescue her. I saw red, she said. They took my car registration and rang the police. They know their rights. They don't care about anyone else's. She said many older villagers were too scared to venture out at night. Gangs of teenagers in hooded tops have carried out a series of attacks on the memorial garden. They've daubed offensive graffiti on its stone cross, ridden bikes over its wreaths, and carved their names into benches. I didn't do nothing. Mrs. Lake added, I'll go to prison if I have to, because this is not about me, it's about the whole community who are scared to leave their homes. My father and grandfather serving in the forces have made me very passionate about honouring our soldiers and what they sacrificed. Parents of the get this. This is the cherry on the cake. Parents of the teenager last night said in a statement, our son's never been in trouble with the police. He is a hard-working, diligent student and would never desecrate a memorial to the war dead. To which I would say, how do you know? Mrs. Lake was bailed to appear before magistrates on January the 17th. Assault carries a maximum penalty of 6 months in jail or a £5,000 fine. Like I said before, free the Mangotsfield 1. At some point, we are, as a nation, going to rise up, sick of this, and we're going to make our voices felt in no uncertain terms. And the people who are behind the crash barriers in Downing Street are going to be taken aback, I would imagine, stunned at the reaction, because perhaps they don't read the newspapers or listen to the radio. I can only assume that that's the case, because they don't appear to have any idea of the feeling of the people on the street. We seem to have given the country over to whoever happens to want to take it, in much the same way that we gave our flag over. The Union flag, we gave it over to right-wing political parties, such that now we're embarrassed to fly it because it's seen to be a right-wing symbol. How insane is that? Is there another country in the world who would feel embarrassed about flying their own flag, who would just give it up through embarrassment? I mean, really. George.
Hello, you couldn't make that story up, I don't think. Very well read, by the way.
Thanks.
It was much longer than my article, which you never read yesterday.
No, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. Barack Obama, what do you think?
Well, Barack Obama, yeah, I admit I don't really know very much about American politics. All I do, as far as I can gather, they're trying at the moment to whittle it down to two people, one from each party, who will then go head-to-head for the big job. Is it the end of this year?
Yeah, November, I think.
Right. And Barack Obama caused something of an upset in Iowa, which is the Midwest, the heart of America, good for God-fearing farmer folk, right?
Yep.
And they, surprisingly to me, although I don't know Iowa, I've never been there, they picked a black man. Now, that wouldn't have been an obvious choice. I wouldn't have assumed that would have been an obvious choice for Middle America. No. However, there is a distinction, apparently, I was talking to an American about this today, between the Midwest and the South. The South, still divided along racial lines. The Midwest are just good, honest, God-fearing folk. And so maybe Barack Obama speaks to them. I think he certainly looks the part, and he looks like, although... Again, I really have got no idea what any of these people stand for. They probably stand for whatever they think will get them elected.
Have you not heard him speak?
Not really, no. I mean, I've seen some of those so-called town hall meetings where they all get around and people ask questions of each individual candidate.
He talks the talk. He's very good, very charismatic.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
I think he is the man. I guess he is going to win if he doesn't get assassinated. But
Well, that was my first thought. When I saw that he had won the first state and he was standing on stage doing his little thank you speech, that was the first thought that came into my mind, that there will be elements in America, as there will be elements in any country, who will be upset at the thought of being led by a black man and would want to take him out.
He's talking about changing the world. I mean, that's...
Right, well, they all do that, don't they?
No, they don't. I like that. I mean, if he was elected president and the most powerful man in the world, if that was what he was looking to do, he could do it.
Mind you, he is only 16, isn't he?
He's got a young family.
He's got a young face. Does he look a bit too young to be president of the United States of America?
No, I think he has the momentum. I think he's probably unstoppable, unless, as I say, he gets assassinated, which would be very sad.
Interestingly enough, he and Hillary are much more famous in this country. Of course, we're not getting the coverage that they are in America, than their Republican counterparts.
Yeah,
I couldn't name three members of the Republican Party who were in the race.
Huckabee, he won. He's a
Huckabee. Right. Well, that sounds like a Midwest name. George, I'm really sorry, mate, but we're up against the news. So thanks for calling, but I'll talk to you another time. All right.
Abbott.
Right, so what we doing?
Carol, is Carol back? Is Carol back on Sunday?
I'll check the rotor.
You'll check the rotor?
Oh, right, yeah.
Great. Are you checking now?
Oh, it's Mark Dolan and Katie Brethwick.
Oh, so she's not back? No. Right, we'll get another week without Carol.
Oh, right, yeah.
I bet she's still on holiday having a lot of...
booze.
Mm-hmm. Plumstead, hello, Ray.
Oh, hi, Nick, how you doing?
All right, thanks.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I do agree with you, actually, being governed by a hall of lawyers. I mean, you've got so many rules in this country, and I think you give the kids too many rights, and you sort of basically not got a leg to stand on when you confront them.
The thing is, they seem to be very clear about their own rights, not remotely interested in anybody else's.
Yeah, they think they're untouchable, and it happens everywhere. Unfortunately,
they are. They think they are, because they are.
I'm 36, and I mean, even when I was younger, it wasn't as bad as it is now. And antisocial behaviour has just gone right out the window, and no one's doing anything about it. I reckon there should be some international campaign against all these people. You know, there should be something, because I think the situation is just been left too long, and people are just running the streets and doing what they want.
Eventually, something is going to snap in some citizen's head, having seen a vigilante film on the TV, and they're going to go out and start dealing out a bit of street justice.
Yeah, it's like what you said before. I mean, we read things and we just sort of moan to ourselves and not do anything about it. You know, like bills and rates and petrol and all this sort of stuff.
Right.
I reckon that there should be a national day where no one just goes to work, you know, and we could just muck the government right up.
Well, that's interesting, because we do have... I mean, we think that we're very powerless as individuals, but actually we have power to do pretty much anything we want. We can shut down television stations if we don't like what they're putting out. We can close down individual TV programmes. We can bring the government to its knees within the space of about a week. We can shut down giant supermarkets. We can really, as a people, do anything we want. All we have to do is think it up and do it.
But we just push on and moan about it to ourselves, and nothing will get done that way.
And we say we mustn't grumble.
That's it, that's the one. But we should grumble. A lot of us should. And people know that we do.
Something has to give. And we don't seem to be getting any help. So it's almost as though they're goading us into taking matters into our own hands.
Yeah. And when you do, you know, you get done. And this old lady, I think it's terrible the police are arresting her. I mean, it's just the world's gone mad. It just doesn't make sense.
My prediction of this lady, from this strange place, what's it called? The Mangotsfield one. The press, this story appeared in just one paper that I saw today. It will be all over the press tomorrow, and the press reaction will be so gigantic that the police will startled, back away, and nothing bad will befall her. That I'd prepare to lay a bet on. But if her case hadn't come to the notice of the national press, as I'm sure cases like this must on a daily basis get ignored because there's just too many of them, then she'd be hung out to dry, I'm sure.
Yeah, these people need to be dealt with, and it needs to be done soon, otherwise it's just going to get worse.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Ray.
That's all right, have a good evening, and great show.
Thanks. 0845 6060 973. And when you finish reading the story, for us, that's the end of the situation. But for these people, they've got to go back and live in the same house, in the same street, probably, as the kids that are running up and down doing this. And so their lives are going to be a constant misery, because emboldened with their ability to get away with pretty much anything, what's the next step? And some people live a life of abject misery, having to put boards on the inside of the windows because kids are chucking stones through their windows, and every time they call the police aren't interested because the crime isn't being carried out right now, and no one's actually dead, and it ruins people's lives because no one's prepared to do anything about it. How on earth have we got to this stage so quickly as well? This didn't used to happen in the 1970s, already in the 80s. It's happened really in the last 10 years. And you know whose fault that is? Yeah, him and his mate. Wallington. Hello, Joan.
Hello, Nick.
Joan.
Well, you know, there was a quote, and the trouble is, I haven't got the quote, and I only partly remember it.
Okay, that's a great start.
Yeah, it's not a good start. But the gist of it is that if you're going to change the regime of another country, first you break down the society. And I think our society is being very deliberately broken down because we are going to be totally into the European Union very soon, and we will be no longer our country. And so I think this is just the build-up to it. And I think the government know exactly what they're doing.
Wow, I thought I was a conspiracy theorist.
Well, you're only starting. You're just learning the biz.
I'm an amateur compared to you.
But, you know, you said just a wee while ago that there's sort of, it's not an accident, really, that this is happening. That, you know, you look at all the drinking, non-stop drinking. The government encouraged that. And
well, no, I have to part company with you there. The 24-hour drinking is fine. Not everyone gets hammered and goes out and throws up on the pavement. Well, perfectly, most people can regulate their own intake. I don't see why most of us should.
There has been a lot more because
no, that's actually not true. It's just shifted from 11 o'clock till 1 o'clock in the morning.
No, not really. They get drunk at the same time, by the same time in the evening, and they're still out much longer.
Well,
I mean, you only have to take Croydon as an example again.
Well, I'm a libertarian, Joan. I don't think that the daft actions of a few should make the rest of us suffer. I think that 24-hour licensing is long overdue in this country. I mean, you go to Spain, for instance, or France, or America, or anywhere else on holiday, and you enjoy a late drink. You have dinner late, and then you have a stroll by the beach, and then you sit in a bar, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're ready for bed. And if you, as a holidaymaker, were turned away from a bar at 11 o'clock because it's shut, because that's the law, you'd be stunned. And yet...
Don't forget, they don't start drinking till very late in the evening. They don't eat until about 9 o'clock.
That's the case in Spain. France is on the same...
No wonder they're still a bit sober by 10, you know.
France is on the same...
Start 7.
Yeah, France is on the... Well, that's not true either. Well, you know... But then, where does that line end? You should ban all alcohol because some people can't contain themselves?
But the thing is, whatever it is that they've done, it has ended up with very, very bad situation on the public transport, on the streets, all over the place. There is this feeling that everybody, well, not everybody, obviously, you know, you've got a few people that don't, but there is a lot more. I mean, ask the ambulance men what they have to deal with every weekend.
I'm aware of that, but what would be the answer? To ban all alcohol?
Well, go back at least to the sort of licensing hours we used to have, which was limiting it.
Not really. I mean, people can get smashed before 11 o'clock quite easily. They just drink faster.
No, I don't think they do. I think the thing is, what's happened is there's this general relaxation of things about drink. It's okay to get drunk. Get drunk. Go get as drunk as you can. It's the only way to enjoy yourself. That's, I think, the message that's been coming across. And then
from who?
From the people who are running the country.
No, that's absolutely not true.
And then it's, get drunk, have sex, and that's it. And as if
that's part of the Labour manifesto. Yeah.
Really, it's as if there's no other way of enjoying yourself.
No, you have to accept responsibility for your own actions, Joan. If you walk into a pub and drink 15 pints of lager, it's not the government's fault, it's your fault.
Well, I think that, if you get a different message from the government and you get a different message into society, that's the way society will behave.
I'm actually not sure that that's true. Any message from the government is not being heard. I mean, if the message from the government was actually being adhered to, nobody would take drugs anymore, would they? I mean, the message has been pretty constant from the government about that. No one's listening.
I know, because I know we had this discussion the other night, and the message from the government is, have drugs.
No, it's not.
It's coming through.
Oh, well, absolute nonsense, Joan.
Yeah, it is. It's giving everybody the idea that it's really an okay social thing to do.
Joan, are you on drugs?
And I think it is really all part of this breakdown of our society. We're talking about the crime. We're talking about how the people who are trying to stop the crime are the ones who are getting bashed. And the people who are going about the streets creating it are given a lot of support.
Right, well, I think that you have to separate the two arguments. The drink and the drugs have to be separate, and the crime and the drink and the drugs. There's three arguments there, and we can't mix them all up because they really don't have anything to do with each other, apart from people who get drunk and then commit crime. But that's not what we're talking about.
I think they're all mixed up together.
But this was quite a linear argument, and now you've tangled me up in knots, Joan.
I hoped to do that. I was really hoping to do that.
Help! I'm being abused.
Oh, no. No, but I do. And I tell you what, before the Nazis went into Vienna, the Second World War, before they took over, first of all, they put masses of beggars on the street. And they created havoc in Vienna. They broke it down as a society. And then the Nazis went in and took over. So, if you see things happening on your streets that seem to be breaking down society, then you say, who's doing it and for why?
Well, as I say, I thought I was a conspiracy theorist, but you leave me in the dust.
I do.
Yeah. You're off your head, Joan.
I'm not.
I'm going to call the police on you straight away.
And then I say cruelty.
Yeah, I want a blood test right now.
No, I really do. I think it is part of the whole breakdown of our society, and the government know this. And I think it is because we will very soon now be saying, well, you've got to be totally into the EU. You're no longer a country, and which of course they're doing day by day.
This is the fourth argument that you've just wrapped this up in. I think
that's the reason. I think that's the reason.
Well, I can't even begin to agree with that at all. No. I do enjoy your call, Joan.
But you don't agree with me.
Not this time. No.
No.
All right.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Joan.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, my dear.
Bye.
I think, in essence, you have to take responsibility for your own actions. It's not Gordon Brown's fault if you go into a bar and get hammered and then throw up on the street and fall over and render yourself unconscious. How could it possibly be his fault? Neither should the rest of us suffer just because some dopes can't handle their booze. Why should we not be allowed, after going to the theatre or the cinema, to go and chat about it with our mates over a pint or a glass of wine? Because the bar's closed at 11 o'clock, it's the law. That used to annoy the hell out of me every time you go out in the West End, you do something, like I say, the theatre or the cinema, something that ends at 10:30, you virtually have to run out to get to the pub when it used to shut at 11. Nonsense. You go on holiday, you come back, and you had much more freedom on holiday, a brief plane ride away, than you did in your own country. Why? Absolute rubbish. So it's a good thing that the licensing laws have been relaxed, but you cannot blame people getting drunk and incapable on the relaxations of the licensing laws. It's the fault of the people who are paying the money over the counter and raising the glass to their lips. And we've become infantilised in this society. Everything is somebody else's fault. I was like that when I got here. I ain't done nothing. In fact, that should be the sign on Heathrow as you come into Great Britain. It's the Bart Simpson defence. It's 7:46. LBC Travel now with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. And if you're on the M1, it's still queuing into town from Luton Airport down towards Hemel Hempstead because of an accident in the roadworks section. Been stuck there for some time now, and it's still blocking 2 lanes as well. So very slow as you head past. Up to an hour's worth of delays are flash floods.
No one is ever safe on this hostile planet.
He's got that right. South Norwood, Mr. Lister.
Oh, good evening, Nick.
Got it.
One of your contributors was on TV last night being interviewed.
Really?
Yes. His name is Dick Chewfeld. Do you know who Dick Chewfeld is?
Sounds like a made-up name.
He is the guy who supplies your warning.
Warning!
Yes. They had an evening last night of all things connected with Irwin Allen.
Irwin Allen?
Who did Lost in Space, where, of course...
Oh, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Danger!
That one.
The Time Tunnel. And, what else was it? Land of the Giants.
Land of the Giants.
It was good. They had an episode, a full episode, and I watched it this morning. It was brilliant.
Now, really? Because I used to watch that in my youth, and like much that you used to enjoy when you were younger, when you revisit them, you think, blimey, what a load of old rubbish.
It was very interesting because they had most of the cast are still around, and they said it was very, very popular. It was popular in England, but it was very popular in communist countries because they saw it as like that they were the little people,
right? And
their government oppressors were the giants.
Huh.
And it was very good. But anyway, talking about Dick Chewfeld, he was interviewed, and if you'd like, it was a 40-second interview, and I've got it on tape. Would you like to hear it?
Well, where did you get this from?
I taped it.
Oh, tape. Oh, well, you should have said.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll ask my my producer who knows about these things.
Yes.
Can we do this?
I don't think we can.
We don't think we can for that.
Okay, right.
Can you give us the gist of it?
Well, the gist of it was that the first time he did it, warning.
Yeah.
He did it very, very quietly. He was told by Irwin Allen to do it like warning. And Irwin Allen said, no, I don't quite like that. So he did what you've got on your tape.
Warning!
Exactly. And of course, the rest is history.
Well,
now,
that's the voice of the robot with the.
Yeah, that's right. The voice of the robot. There was a guy in the robot, but that was someone else.
Right, with the bendy arms.
That was a guy called Bob May.
How do you know all this?
Well, I saw it last night.
Oh, right.
And Bob May, they showed you that he was in there. That the way that he was able to twist and turn round. To make him look as though there wasn't...
Yeah, because his legs remained going forwards and his top would twist around.
Yeah.
How would he do that?
And it was ingenious. They showed you the how he came inside, and they interviewed him, and he was talking about it, and it was really... But it was particularly interesting to see this guy. I don't know if he's still alive in it, because the documentary...
we'll get a can opener and see if we can't pry him out of there.
was made. The guy who does the voice this documentary was made in 1995. So I don't know. He may have. I didn't get a chance this morning to check on the internet.
Isn't it shocking that 1995 was 13 years ago?
It did because it did. I thought it's so fresh. This documentary it was introduced by June Lockhart.
Who's
that?
It
was the mother on Lost in Space.
Oh, yeah. She's still alive.
Yeah. She was in the film. She had a terrific part in the film.
I've avoided that because everyone said it was rubbish.
I quite enjoyed that. Gary Oldman.
Was Gary Oldman in it?
Yeah, Gary Oldman played the part of Dr. Zachary Smith, the part that was played in by Jonathan Harris in the TV version.
I know the dumpy guy from Friends was in it.
Yeah, that's right. I can't think of his name offhand, but I know the one you're talking about.
Joey.
Yeah. And... as I say, she hosted it with Billy Mummy.
Who's that?
Billy Mummy was the little boy in Lost in Space.
Oh, right.
But the whole cast they had the Time Tunnel, they had Lee Merriweather, and a few of the others that were there that were still around in 1995. But as I say, the most interesting one was Land of the Giants.
Yeah.
And they had Gary Conway, all the cast that were in the original. And then they showed a complete episode.
What nonsense we used to watch as children, really.
Oh, well, I mean, I go back in, I think, even before, some of the ones that were on in the late 50s and early 60s.
We like to think of anything previous to the period that we're in now as the golden age of television, but you know what? It was just pants, really, wasn't it? Be honest. I mean, nothing then compares to, I don't know, for instance, the Sopranos now.
Absolutely. I think there was a series, Nick, I mean, in the very early days that caught quite a few people's attention. It was called The Defenders.
Okay, Defenders.
Yeah, it was a series about a couple of father and son lawyers, and we're going way back in the mist of time, early 60s.
Right.
And that was a show that was, everybody said, this is breakthrough, and, I mean, like things, that they are today. I heard that there's a new series starting over the weekend with, I think it's Glenn Close in.
The Bunny Boiler?
Yeah. It's I don't know how it's been doing in the States.
Bunny Boiler. That's become part of the language now, hasn't it?
Because it's funny, the girl who was, the other one, who was it? Was it Anne Archer was in it as well, I believe, wasn't she?
I can't remember.
Yeah. But as I say, good reviews of this series, and it said in the paper tonight, the Evening Standard, that at the end...
Well, don't tell us.
No, I'm not giving any of the plot away, I'm just telling you, they said at the end, it has shades of The Sopranos.
Really?
Yeah, that was in the Standard. If you've got a Standard, in the middle where they have the TV listings, in the far right-hand corner.
What, is that on tonight?
No, it's on over the weekend.
Ah, I wasn't listening to you when you said that.
No.
More fool me.
You might have to tape it, because I think it might be on... You're on Sunday, are you?
Yes, I am.
So
I'm just trying to find out whether I'm on Saturday as well. I think I am, but I'm not sure I am.
Well, I
often have to look up the net to find out what I'm doing, or indeed where I am.
And then they also went on to show Irwin Allen's films.
Which were?
Towering Inferno.
Oh, was that him?
Yeah, that was where he
The same guy that did Lost in Space did Towering Inferno.
And The Poseidon Adventure.
You know what? The Towering Inferno is the only film I've ever seen. This was when it was first released at the cinema that had an interval in the film. Yeah. Wow. Halfway through, just when they were on the stairs, I believe it was
Paul Newman and Steve McQueen.
And Steve McQueen, yes, they were rescuing some woman on the stairs, and there was an explosion on the stairs. And you think, oh, blimey, they're a goner. And then the screen goes blank and the curtains close. And then you have to,
lollies.
Exactly, you have to troop out there and get a Kiora.
Oh, yeah, the old Kiora guy, yes. And then he did the Poseidon Adventure.
Right.
The original.
He was hooked on disasters,
and he did a film that everybody thinks is probably one of the worst films. I've never seen it, called The Swarm.
Right, no, I haven't seen that one.
Comes it Killer Bees or Killer Wasps?
Yeah, I'll add it to the list of films I don't
He had
know.
a lot of ones that were...
rubbish?
Were done. Because I'm not sure, I just think he was involved with Beyond the Poseidon Adventure, which was... everybody says was a journey.
Yeah, one step a step beyond.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks a lot, Philip. I've got to go. Past a break. Cheers, mate.
Adam.
That was Mr. Lister.
Affirmative.
7:55.
Abbott.
How may I help you?
I am right about that, though, by the way. We do like to think of times in the 70s and the... I don't know... I don't really know much about the 60s. I was 10 in 1970, so the 70s was my era. Well, I think of the 70s as the golden era of television, but it absolutely flat out wasn't. And you have golden memories of it, things like... everything that Philip was just mentioning, and ones that we produced in this country, like the one that was that had the Lake Geneva fountain at the beginning of it, and they could all talk to each other. Why am I'm looking through the glass, hoping for inspiration from you two. You have a combined age of 10.
We don't have a clue what you're going on about.
Yeah. Some old geezer flapping his gums in here. Why don't I just shut up, right? Tooting. Hello, Sabrina.
Hi, how are you?
Sabrina.
How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
I just wanted to talk about this lady, you know, the one with the kids?
Yes.
Right. You know the lady who got, the police took the kids' side instead of the ladies' side?
Yeah, the Mangotsfield one.
Yeah. Well, I think the police themselves are in the wrong, and the lady should have been respected for her views.
The police should have... they should never have got to this point.
No,
if this has been happening for 2 years, the police should have done something about it before now.
Yeah, they should have done it, but in this country, the police, they're making their rules as they go along. You see, in this case, this lady's case, they should have taken her side instead of the kids. It should be done on the moral basis.
I don't think that's true. I think quite the reverse is true. If they were making up the rules as they go along, if they were actually using their own common sense and good judgment about this, then these kids who are doing this should have been cuffed about the ear by the police in uniform 2 years ago, instead of letting it get to this point. And then they are following the law to the letter. This is the problem. They're all frightened of getting fired if they don't follow the word of law to the letter, which is why people who, like this woman, take situations into their own hands and do the right thing. Yeah. This is why people like that are being persecuted, because the actual letter of the law says that she's done something wrong.
Yes, but let me tell you my side of the story. A few years ago, I was harassed by...
You'll have to be quick, Sabrina. I'm afraid we're going to come up to the news.
With my brother. And what happened, my brother left, and the policewoman called me, and I said to her, I didn't want any her help. So I slammed the phone down, so the 2 police officers came to my house. They banged the doors about 10 times. In the end, I had to force open the door. I was forced to open the door. Instead of talking to me, how are you, Sabrina, blah, 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 they were busy in my bedrooms. They just went upstairs, and I didn't know. I didn't know the laws. They needed a warrant. But the police then, some of the police in this country, they're making their own rules.
Sabrina, we've got to leave it there, but thanks a lot. All right, this is LBC.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Is it just me, or is there something intrinsically funny about Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, "Hi, honey, how are you"? Who's Daniel John, by the way? Natalie Imbruglia was married to rock star Daniel John. He's one of those really famous rock stars that no one's ever heard of. Who is he?
I think he might be from the group Silverchair.
Silverchair. Oh, they're very good. I think I've got one of their albums, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's under a pile of thousands of albums that I'll never listen to if I live to be a million.
It might be quite good. Give it a whirl.
Silverchair. In fact, I can picture it. It's got a sticker on the front that says, promotional copy only, not to be resold. I'm sure it does. That were back in the day when I used to get promotional copies of albums. It were grand when I were a lad. I used to come home from another place, began with V, ends in Urgin. Laden down on a weekly basis, 2 carrier bags full of CDs. Used to virtually need a pack horse to get my freebies home of a week. Now, nothing. Never mind, eh? Mustn't grumble. Still, here's me, not grumbling. Woking. Hello, Adrian.
Oh, hi, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, just wanted to talk about this lady that was arrested. I heard your last caller.
Oh, yeah.
Who was sort of making the point, was saying that the police make up their own rules. I think that's absolutely the opposite of what's happening now.
Yeah.
And you sort of hit the nail on the head, I think, when you said that, police have to follow the rules to the letter, and that's absolutely true. They've taken all the discretion away.
Now, you are a police officer.
I am.
I'm not telling you, because you know that. I'm telling everybody else.
But, I mean, I'm sure people know. I mean, we find it as frustrating as, the public find it. In that,
okay, tell me what would happen. Okay, you are on, sitting at your office, having a fag.
Yeah.
And flipping through Arena magazine, or whatever it is that you do, and the call comes in, and this lady has been surrounded by 15 youths who've been, yet again, daubing their slogans on a cross, put up to commemorate the war dead.
Right.
So you scream on up there in your little panda car, and you get out, and what would happen to you if you sided with her, didn't take the complaint from these kids any further, and if necessary, clip one of them about the ear and told them to bugger off home?
What, if I clip one of them around the ear?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would be more than me job's worth, you see.
Really?
Oh, there's absolutely no way, as I'm sure you well know, that would happen in this.
All right, take the clipping around the ear part away.
Right.
And if you just sided with her and told her to get on home and stop, interfering with everybody's business, what would happen?
Well, the point I was going to make was that the last 10 years, as you quite rightly pointed out, we've been basically ruled by people who are obsessed with facts, figures, and ticking boxes. That is all that matters now. We're not allowed to go anymore to an incident like that and make a common sense judgment about it. We have to look at the counting rules, the reporting rules, and that's the way it's seen. I mean, I obviously I'll be careful about what I say about this particular case, because you've heard the lady's side of the story and only a short report or a short comment from the lad's parents. It might well be that in this case she was unlucky and picked on the wrong one who actually hadn't done anything.
Right.
You don't know, so you have to get there and investigate it. That's what it's all about, isn't it? But the main point is, we're not allowed to use common sense and discretion anymore. We have to look at it and say, right, there's a crime there, that has to be reported. Because if you don't, if you get back to the station and say, look, I dealt with it this way, I used a common sense approach, then you'll have someone in an office sending you an email or lots of memos or God knows what, saying there was a crime, why didn't you record it, that could have been a clear-up. That's what it's about now, unfortunately.
So, in your opinion, or the generally perceived opinion of the police, why are we in this position now? Why are we being run by targets?
Well, this is my opinion, obviously, but I think a lot of my colleagues would agree. We have never had so much political interference. We have never had so much. We are basically run by the government now. And, my personal view is that the senior police officers years ago when I joined, they sort of had the bottle to stand up and say, no, we'll take that and we'll do that because that's, that will be good, but we're not going to do that because that's a load of rubbish. Now, they will just do as they're told. In the main, I can't sort of say that every single one of them is like that, but I think a lot of influential and senior police officers now are politically appointed and are just prepared to do as they're told. And so the government says, they put out an edict and they say, right, you're going to do this, and our senior officers who should be standing up for us and saying, no, that won't be good for policing and the public won't like that, they'll just say, OK, we'll do that.
Now, on the one hand, you'd think that giving you clear guidance and guidelines and targets to meet would simplify your job and would give you a clear idea of what it is you have to do in any given situation.
Right.
So you'd think that there is a possibility, and I'm going to ask you what the reality is, that it actually makes your job clearer and easier.
Oh, no,
Right.
It's far, far more complex now. Policing hasn't changed. But the public is still the public. Criminals are still criminals. They haven't changed in 20, 30 years, probably longer than that. All that's changed is the way the government want us to behave in relation to them. If you go out on a Friday night in any town centre, you're still dealing with obnoxious drunk people, who want to abuse you, fight you, whatever. They're still the same. They've always been the same. In the morning when they sobered up, they're probably the nicest people in the world, but when they're drunk, they're horrible. The nature of policing is exactly the same, but, this particular government, or, and Tony Blair's government, have made it so complex because they've got so many, as I say, they're just obsessed with figures and counting rules.
Is it possible... Sorry, Adrian. Is it possible that, by setting targets, what they're actually doing is less being interested in protecting the general public and more, and I'm leading the witness here, but more interested in compiling statistics that they can show to us to prove what a good job they're doing?
Absolutely, that's absolutely spot on. That is effectively all your average police officer does now, is goes out and collects statistics for this government to say, look how well we're doing. And of course, in reality, the person that is, sitting at home looking at their war memorial being vandalised on a nightly basis knows it's an absolute load of rubbish, but the government can stand up in the House of Commons or wherever and say, look how great we're doing. We've managed to decrease minor crime by 15%, but that means nothing to the person who's sitting at home terrified because they've got a group of yobs sitting outside.
What's the position about conscripting people into, that's not quite the right word, but filling vacancies in the police? There's a backlog, isn't there? There's a queue of people waiting to get in, is that right?
Yes, I know, I'm at a loss.
Well, that was going to be my question, because I would have thought that from everything that you're saying that, I won't say it, I'll ask you, what's the general mood in the police
I think you'll find that
canteen?
Those of us that have been doing the job for quite some time, like I have, remember things how they were. There's been a lot of reform that has been good, there's no doubt about it, but I'd say now it's gone far too far. And I suppose people that are young and joining up today have been brought up in a completely different society to those of us that were brought up, in the 60s and 70s.
And how would you characterise the new crop of recruits?
in the main, they're fine. It's just that they have a completely different mentality to those of us who were brought up perhaps on a diet of the Sweeney.
Well, that was exactly what I was going to ask you. Would it be nice, in your opinion, to go back to, or I don't know if such a thing existed in real life, but to return to the values of the Sweeney?
Well, no. I mean, I'm using that as an example. I mean, that was entertainment at the end of the day. But I do think that the respect has gone, hasn't it? There's no respect. It's not just for police. There's no respect for teachers or anybody in a position of authority anymore. Like you were saying, they all know their rights, and they know that they can, drop a police officer in it. All they've got to do is make a complaint or, make some kind of spurious allegation, and it's got to be investigated.
Adrian, have you ever uttered the phrase, "You're nicked, sunshine"?
Oh, I have, actually. Yeah. Can I just mention, have you ever heard of a book called Wasting Police Time?
No.
Very, very good. Worth a read. Not a long book. Won't take you long to read it. It's by a guy called David Copperfield, which I suspect...
The magician?
He's a serving police officer in this country who's now emigrated, as I understand it, but he wrote a book called Wasting Police Time, and it is excellent, and it will tell you everything you need to know about modern policing. All
right, I've written it down. I'll stick it in my pocket. Thanks a lot, Adrian.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. Mate. This is LBC. It's 0845 6060 973. Leighton. Hello, Jean.
Hello, Nick.
Jean.
How are ya?
I'm all right, love.
About Kenya, Nick.
Kenya?
Yeah, what do you think of it all?
I don't know enough about it.
Have they been overthrown, their government?
Pardon?
Has the government been overthrown?
Like I said, there's no end of coverage in the papers about Kenya, and I just flip the page and keep on going.
Really?
And as I read the papers these days, I'm overcome less with an interest in Kenya and more with an interest in going out and buying a sofa. Isn't that strange?
I agree about what you said on the drugs thing, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
What
was
you said
that?
about the drugs problem. Why didn't the government just buy up the drugs?
It seems to make perfect sense to me. You can make actual medicine that they use in operations with heroin.
Yeah.
They're using it all the time. So why don't we just go and buy it?
Yeah, why don't they buy it?
Yeah.
But as I say, if you don't, something like, you get kids that say, if they say not to try something, they'll be more likely to try it.
Yes. They'll be pulling their hair out, desperate to give it a go.
Yeah.
If the government's message is, don't do it, then everybody under the age of 35 will be just gagging to do it. Yeah. Well, if you fancy a trip to Kenya, Jean, there's a top persons store that's got an offer on at the moment. You spend more than £250 in their sales, you can win a trip there. Doesn't that sound great?
Are you joking, Nick?
No, I'm perfectly serious.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they're opening their doors tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Form an orderly queue. Thanks a lot, Jean.
Okay, Nick, bye.
0845 6060 973. It's 8:15. Here's Travel with Will Gowing.
Thanks a lot.
I really like you. Do you like me?
So this story from the Arena magazine that I'd started reading out. I want you to make notes of every story that I start, but don't finish. All right. He's nodding on the radio. Can you believe that? Nodding he is. Like that comes across. It's not television, you know.
I'll do it.
Right. Amy Winehouse's husband, Blake Fielder Civil, and I still haven't got an explanation as to who this person is. Who is he? I mean, he can't be a no one, surely, because Amy Winehouse mixes in druggy muso circles. So he must be a muso, is he? Does he do music?
He might do. Shall I search engine him?
Yes, why don't you go and Google him? Other search engines are available. Amy Winehouse's husband, Blake Fielder Civil, has been voted Britain's top anti-icon. By the way, I saw this morning the Channel 4 were repeating some of that Big Brother nonsense that they had on last night, and I just caught about 10 minutes of it. Good grief. Everybody who has anything to do with that, they must be holding their head in their hands. That looked awful. And who's the Matt Lucas, right? The round person who had the headphones on, who was telling that... He was telling an MP, a prospective MP for Scotland, some large, ginger person. He had a earphone in, and he was receiving instructions from Matt Lucas, who was telling him to be rude to people and to do crazy things. Why would he do that? The kid's supposed to be... he's a prospective politician. He's like a young Labour or young Conservative or young SNP, you know, one of those people. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. It went away. I hate that. Where was I? Oh, yeah. I was on the verge of orgiastic explosions, and then it went away and nothing happened. I was all getting ready to be excited. Why would he do that? Why didn't he just pull his earplug out and say, no, I'm not doing it anymore? I mean, what, are they going to throw him out? It looked terrible. And the one thing that I did occur to me is that the chap who's presenting it, what's his name?
Dermot O'Leary?
Dermot O'Leary, yeah. No offence, but is he in possession of a personality? Because there doesn't appear to be anything there at all. I mean, at least the woman who used to do it, what's her name? I don't know anybody anymore. Davina McCall. At least she seems, warm and likeable, like there's something behind the fiercely applied makeup. But Dermot O'Leary, there doesn't seem to be anything there at all. It's like he's a cardboard cutout. Am I right?
Probably. He does X Factor as well. Maybe he's just all...
He does X Factor, right. Well, I rest my face. Have we found out about Blake Fielder Civil yet?
No. He's not on Wikipedia, so that shows how famous he is.
Even I'm on Wikipedia. Oh, that's out. That's shocking. If you're in the newspapers and you haven't got your own misinformation up on Wikipedia, then that really does mark you out as a no one. Huh. Okay, well then he's a no one. Arena magazine carried out a poll to find where anti-celebrity feelings run strongest, asking readers which male celebrities least deserved their place in the spotlight. Mr. Fielder Civil, on remand at Pentonville Prison, awaiting trial for perverting justice, headed the top 10 as the worst husband ever. If your wife is partial... I've read that bit. Shall I read it again? You're the producer. It's your show.
No, you can move
Skip
on.
past that. Oh, you're no fun at all.
Go on, then read it again if it's
No, I don't want to. It mocked his fashion sense, lamenting that, along with fellow hat botherer Pete Doherty, who managed not to make it onto the list, Fielder Civil has made the trilby untouchable for any self-respecting gent. I've also read that bit, because I remember I started banging on about Pete caps. What? Have you got a cap? Have you got a hat of any sort?
Yes, I have a woolly hat.
A woolly hat?
Well, it's a designer hat.
Oh, get you with your designer woolly hat.
Keeps me warm.
I think you'd look amusing in a woolly hat.
Well...
Has it got a bobble on the end?
No. It's not really quite woolly, it's just...
Well, what's it made of? Wool! It's a woolly hat!
It's not like a big thick one, though. It's what's known as a beanie hat.
Oh, beanie hat. That's the kind of hat that you get down with the kids, innit? Go mental!
Well,
you got a hat there, Johnny?
I'm quite partial to a flat cap.
A flat cap?
Yeah, I got one for Christmas.
Right, have you ever,
I haven't worn it out of the house yet. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. You will feel as though people are staring at you because you've got something on your head.
They will be.
Yeah. Because you're 8 foot tall as well, because that, so that doesn't help. You will stand out in the crowd.
But I think it'll go down quite well in my neck of the woods.
What, do you live in Oldham?
Essex.
Essex?
Yeah.
No, flat caps do not belong in Essex, they belong in Yorkshire. Have you ever been on Ilkley Moor?
I have, yeah.
Oh, did
Maybe
you take...
I'll go up there.
Did you take your hat?
I didn't know.
Oh, right. So you were on Ilkley Moor bar tat?
Yeah.
Very foolish mistake. Second on this list was the graffiti artist, and I'm so pleased to see this, and I can't believe that Arena, which is apparently a magazine that is, on the fashion cutting edge, agree with me. Again, I am... it's incredible how I can be so right about everything all the time, isn't it? Hello? Yes, Nick. Banksy. Can you believe that Banksy is number 2 on their list of anti-icons, people who don't deserve to be in the press? Because I've been railing against the success of Banksy forever and a day, and people poo-poo my suggestion that this bloke's a nothing. He's a cartoonist, I've always said. There doesn't appear to be any ability there at all. He just draws stencils on buildings. I could do that. They're just weak jokes. And people are talking about this guy like he's a genuine artiste. He ain't. If he's an artist, then so's Charles M. Schultz. So's the guy, by the way, who does the cartoon on the front page of the Daily Telegraph, who makes me laugh on a daily basis, much more so than Banksy does. But he's selling art for hundreds of thousands of pounds. The whole world's gone crazy. Arena says Banksy is mainly lauded, and I love this, I'm going to start buying Arena. Get me a subscription straight away. Arena said Banksy is mainly lauded by sixth formers whose minds are so fogged by hormones that they believe stencils of policemen kissing passes for caustic social commentary. Less enamoured with his work are the taxpayers who spend £1 billion cleaning graffiti in the UK each year, money which would arguably be better spent paying nurses or even gay policemen. Brilliant. Exactly what I've thought about Banksy all along. Go on, defend Banksy for me, I double dare you.
Maybe it's some sort of political satire that you just don't get.
Nonsense. It's a cartoon.
I think it's the fact that no one knows who he is, which just adds to why he's
In
so...
other words, like everything else these days that you could point to as being a success, it's PR BS. Right?
I don't know.
His success is dependent on no one knowing who he is. That's his thing, his catchphrase, if you like.
Well, I think that's quite a good one. Because if you're out in the media and you're so much in the public eye, people will get sick of you eventually.
No, well, apparently that's not true. I mean, hands up who's sick of Tracy Emin. Oh, blimey, I'm overwhelmed with the response, and yet she's still in the public eye, still selling art, in inverted commas, for hundreds of thousands of pounds. She's got a blooming column in one of the papers. Hello, I'm Tracy. I got really drunk this week. And I've got no idea what a column is like. I saw a picture at the top of it, and I
maybe it's just
flipped
doodles.
the page. Yeah. Failing the country at sport, continues this article, is also declared a way to gain anti-icon status, with England and Chelsea footballer Frank Lampard coming in third for his lacklustre display in Euro 2008 qualifiers. What is it about Frank Lampard that people find so objectionable? Because he went from hero to zero in about 10 seconds. He used to be a hero, and now he's considered, he's considered fat, which he evidently isn't. Slow, useless, can't pass, can't kick, can't head. What can he do? Why him particularly?
Because he was supposed to be leading the team. And
No, he wasn't.
He's one of the senior members of the team.
Well, they're all senior members. You can't be a member of the England squad without being a senior member.
No,
They're
but
all
I mean,
senior.
in terms of all the players there, him, Stevie Gerrard, they were the more senior players who should have been leading from the front, and they weren't doing it. They weren't putting in a good performance.
Yeah, but
so-
everyone still loves Stevie G, but everyone appears to hate Frank Lampard. Why him? Why pick on him?
Because he's rubbish.
Well, that's not true. Obviously, it's not true.
Well, by the standards he's set for himself, he's not as good.
Right.
As he once was.
But then neither of them are. As soon as they pull on the Three Lions, they turn into a bunch of dopes. They perform excellently for their respective teams, which, while being paid £100 a week. And I'm sure it's not a money thing. It can't be. It can't be just because they're not paid as much as their teams. They're not trying as much, because they must have, as kids who've thought of little else but played football, they must have wanted to be in the England squad since they could think.
But I think most of it actually is just that they don't play regularly together as an England team, so you don't know where you fit in the team.
Right, but then they're playing opposite teams who you could say are in the same circumstance.
Well,
I mean, if the England team was playing against Real Madrid, for instance, then they'd be screwed, understandably. But they're not. They're playing against Spain and France and Italy, none of whom play as a team more than we do. We're on the wrong topic here, aren't we? Because none of us have got the faintest idea about football. I'll assume you haven't got any idea about football,
Not really,
Johnny?
no, I
not
think
really,
we're all
no.
rubbish.
The falsetto-voiced singer Mika was fourth. Mika, he's fantastic.
Boring.
And there's another PR BS phenomenon. He appeared out of absolutely nowhere, right, to be crowned as the new king of pop on the strength of one single that had something to do with Judy Garland or Ella Fitzgerald or something like that. I heard it once and I thought, oh, Struth, is this it?
I remember the song. I can't remember who it was about.
Grace Kelly, yeah, that's right. What a contribution that you've made to the show so far. You can stay. Followed by daytime television host Jeremy Kyle. Any thoughts? Yes. Where are we now? 8, 29 and 14. Oh, I've got to fill for 30 seconds. What shall I do? the judge made the condemnation about Jeremy Kyle after a 45-year-old man appeared in court for headbutting his wife's lover on the programme, saying that the purpose of the show was to effect a morbid and depressing display of dysfunctional people whose lives are in turmoil. Dysfunctional people whose lives are in turmoil. Which, by the way, is a perfect reflection of the people who watch that show.
Opinion?
I'll be the judge of that. Didn't have quite enough time to eat my sponge covered in chocolate with a smashing orangey bit in the middle. Here is Crystal Palace. Hello, Lee.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
All right, thanks.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Oh, you know, this and that.
Yeah, you had a caller on about an hour ago. He was talking about how the government basically messed us about, and if we all get together as a people,
yeah,
and just kind of like, you know, because remember, we've got to realise that we are the government, that without us is no government. And I'm like, for instance, you know, they come out, typical example, the trains, they put the fares up on the trains, and everyone complains and moans and blah, 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 but they still flipping pay it. So
there was an interesting article today in one of the papers that you know, the trains disappoint and then are fined by regulators.
That's right.
For well, not really, but they're fined by regulators for, you know, not doing the right thing. But who gets to pay the fine? Us. We do. They're essentially fining us.
Exactly. And people kind of complain and they still pay it. So it'd be good that one of your callers said it'd be good if one day no one went to work, no one used the trains. You know,
it sounds fantastical, but it's actually very easy. You know, all we have to do is think it up and act as one, and we can change the country.
Exactly. Think like me. Perfect. Act as one. Be a unit. Be a majority.
Yeah.
I mean, and stop getting, we're getting bamboozled, we're getting robbed, and we just pay it.
We're like sheeple.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, well done. You know what? We're like sheeple. We're the sheep, and the government is a shepherd.
Yes.
The rest of it just like herd us about like sheep, and we just bar to their rules. Exactly. Nick.
Couldn't agree more.
So when I heard your caller, I don't know what his name is, but you know, I'm all for him. Here.
Right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Lee.
Cheers, mate.
I completely agree with that. You know. And I think it is not without the bounds of possibility that there will be one issue, one story, one incident that upsets us as a country so much that we metaphorically and literally put our foot down and say, right, that's it. You've gone too far. Now we're going to do something about it. We're sick of this. It's like sticking our heads out the window. We're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore. And some enterprising newspaper will whip up a campaign. They don't even have to do it. It could be done on the internet by some bloke who's tapping away in his dressing gown in his bedroom. No, don't go away. Hang on. What don't you understand about one sugar? My God, is there a shortage of sugar in the world?
Bring it in here.
Yeah, I'll self-medicate. That's an excellent idea. Did he stir it? I don't know. Did you stir it? It's very hot, too. I think he's trying to kill me. There's no sugar in it at all. I mean, how many times do I have to say it? Over and over again I've said it. Not that it's important, and I don't like complaining. Oh, he's brought in a dessert spoon now.
That's the only spoons they have.
Did you stir it?
Yeah.
All right. Show me the amount that you put in before. No, don't lie.
Not much.
Well, that's not a spoonful. That's like 3 granules. What size of spoon do you have in your household?
Smaller than this one. Is that enough?
That would be sufficient. Yeah. I think he adds sugar with chopsticks. That's right. A couple of taps on the rim. Lovely. Excellent job. Now that's what I call a cup of tea. Beautiful. Anyway, where was I? I have absolutely no idea. Shall we start the show again? Let me finish this top icons list, and then maybe you can add your own. Because there's a top 10 here, top 10 of people who are in, what could loosely be described as celebrities, who, I suppose the idea of this list is that they're sick and tired of them. They don't deserve their place in the nation's affections, and we can't be bothered with them anymore. We don't want to read about them anymore. They have no discernible ability comparable to the amount of coverage that they get. Who are they? Would they please go away? I think this is the essence of this list. So far we've had Blakefield the Civil, whoever that is, married to Amy Wineglass. Banksy, artist, in inverted commas. Frank Lampard, who I think is unreasonably vilified. Mika, singer, who was last year's thing. He was all over everything last year, and I would fully expect him to be in the remaindered bin at the end of this year. Jeremy Kyle, or Vile, as I think it would be more appropriate to call him. Daytime Jerry Springer wannabe. And then it goes on. Peter Andre was 6th for forming half of Britain's most overexposed couple, with his model wife Katie Price, also known as Jordan. I read today that Jordan and Peter Andre, they've got this programme, right, which is called... What's it called?
I don't know, but it's them in America.
Take a Peek at Our Wonderful Life, something like that. So they're showing it in America, and when Jordan speaks, they have to subtitle her, because no one in America has any idea what she's saying. How does she talk? Is it like very like that? Well, you're from Essex, Johnny. Does she speak like that?
Yeah.
Right.
She speaks like she should be on the Jeremy Kyle show.
Right.
Maybe she has been once, I don't know. But that's what, I understand it, but the Americans obviously don't.
I'm sorry, I can't understand a word you're saying.
Yeah, that's it.
Where are we? She was on the reality television programme I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. The couple sat on his and her pink wedding thrones in front of 350 guests at their wedding in 2005, which in much the same way that Posh and Becks did. Every one of these wannabe large-boobed starlets wants to be posh, right? They all do. Why? Other than the fact that she's rich, I have got no idea. The former Big Brother housemate Ziggy was 7th. Ziggy? He's such a minor character, you wouldn't think he would even approach a list of... does anybody still... I'm a bit mystified by that. I don't even know what question to ask. Who is he? Is he still getting coverage? I mean, I read the papers all the time. I haven't read about Ziggy. He's got a mouthful of apple.
Ziggy's more minor than the others that were in there.
Well, yeah. Is he still a celebrity?
What's he done wrong, really?
I don't really know. Being famous. He's irritated the people who read Arena, apparently.
Ah. The many readers.
Yeah. Well, it's an expensively put together magazine. You'd think they'd have at least 100,000 people who buy it. I mean, I don't really know how many people buy magazines these days. You'd think that magazines, like newspapers, would be on an incurable slope downwards. Fewer people are buying newspapers now than they ever have. I think only one paper actually went up last year, and that was the paper that really knows its audience, the Daily Star. I think they did particularly well. Everybody else, their audience has gone into the toilet.
Maybe it's because people just don't want to have to sit there with a paper. It's too much effort for them.
Well, interestingly, I mean, the Daily Star doesn't do news. I mean, the Sun doesn't do news very much, but the Daily Star really doesn't do news. Their news, their front page... I can't remember what it was today, but I bet you every penny that I earned today that it was something to do with Big Brother. Was it?
Probably.
Yeah. And that's their entire coverage is nonsense that's on television. And it's the only paper whose readership is going up, which tells you everything you need to know about this country. Aren't you ashamed to live here?
I am. I'll make plans to move.
Like that old geezer who moved at the age of 105, something like that, to New Zealand. What's the point?
Why don't you just go to Bournemouth?
Well, he'd be...
That's a lot closer.
Yeah. I mean, that's where people go to die, isn't it? Bournemouth, it's the bath chair capital of the world. He went all the way to New Zealand, fully expecting to die en route. Really, why did he do that?
Maybe it was just to emphasise how much he didn't like this country.
Right,
all the way to the other end of the world.
Making a final statement. The former Big Brother housemate Ziggy was 7th. The singer, known as Prince, was 8th. I think that's... why? That's very unreasonable. Prince is an actual, real-life talent. I mean, I would stop short of saying genius, because he produced maybe 3 or 4 great albums in the 80s?
70s. Late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah. And since then, not much. In almost a reflection, but not as talented as Stevie Wonder, who produced 4 of the best albums there has ever been in the 70s. Can we name them?
Superstition?
No.
I can name you songs.
Oh, no, we're fresh out of time. No, the 4 albums, Inner Visions, Talking Book, Songs in the Key of Life, Inner Visions, Talking Book, Fulfilling This First Finale. Those 4 albums, every home should have. Trust me. Since then, nothing. And it pains me to say it. Stevie Wonder is an actual musical genius. Prince, there and thereabouts. He doesn't belong on this list. Not with Blakefield the Civil. That's very unreasonable. Followed by, quite right too, Ant and Dec. Can somebody please explain their success to me? Anyone?
I think it was all about Biker Grove.
Yeah.
That's such a dim, distant memory. I mean, there used to be, if you don't know what Biker Grove is, I believe it was a children's television programme which gave them their first success, right?
Yep.
And now they've become fully bland, and I think that bland is the key, television presenters who will fit anywhere, right? Give them any format and they'll bland for a living. Yeah?
Isn't that just the sign of a professional being able to slot in where they're needed?
Well, you're standing up for them now.
I'm not defending, I'm just possible suggestions as to why they're on TV so much. Like Vernon Kay, why is he on TV?
Oh,
he should be on that list.
Truth. Vernon Kay deserves to be on that list more than Ant and Dec, who are at least likeable. Vernon Kay, see my comments about Dermot O'Dreary above. There's nothing there. He's just a cardboard cutout. Is he actually in 3 dimensions in real life?
Probably not.
Vernon Kay. Please explain that to me. Go on, I double dare you.
Well, I'm not going to explain it, but I saw him do a pilot for a Beatles About style show, and it only did the pilot and nothing else because it was that bad.
Well, that doesn't reflect badly on Vernon Kay. I mean, pilots get made and rejected virtually on a daily basis. The last on this list, also one of my also somebody who I've talked about on this show, mystified by his apparent success, on a programme that I really like a lot and never miss, Richard Hammond, who used to be a DJ. Hey! And you can tell. Not that I've got anything about, about DJs. I am one. Over at the other place I play...
Rock and roll!
But Richard Hammond, I mean, the only reason that Top Gear is successful, be honest, is because Jeremy Clarkson is funny.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Everybody else is a hanger-on. And that everybody seems to be falling over themselves in love with Richard Hammond is an absolute mystery to me. It seems that bland is the only thing that is required to be successful these days. Or rather, there are 2 camps. Bland, which will get you work a lot, or... people who take a lot of drugs and have indiscriminate sex a lot. That's the only 2 things, the only 2 groups of people that have any chance of success in modern Britain. And it's all Tony Blair's fault.
What?
8:45. Here's Travel with Will Gowing.
Still problems now on the motorways tonight. One lane is closed with...
Bromley, hello, Bill.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
All right, thanks.
Good. I'm just phoning up to say that we did have a rebellion of sorts back in Thatcher's days when she put the poll tax on. And
what, that small contained incident that was in Trafalgar Square when people put scaffolding poles through McDonald's? Oh, that'll change the world.
No, that wasn't. That was something else. That was totally different.
I thought that was the poll tax riot.
No, wasn't. The poll tax riot was where people burnt down scaffolding and
And put it through McDonald's. Yeah, I said that.
No, that was different. That was Save the World, wasn't it? Where they daubed all over the walls and everything.
Well, they certainly did a good job there, yeah.
but on the poll tax, she had to appoint Michael Heseltine to get her out of a hole, because basically she was charging everybody individually sort of I suppose what they call now
council tax.
Council tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're still paying. They just call it something else.
Individual. No, it's a lot less than it was. I tell you.
Rubbish.
No, rubbish. What do you mean? It's a lot less. I can remember when I had 4 children at home, we were paying nearly over $3,500. Now we pay about 2, and that is about 10 years ago. When she changed it, and
right. But presumably your children have left.
Huh?
Your children have left home?
They've left home now.
Right, and
yeah.
so they're paying council tax where they're living now, right? So it'll probably add up to about $3,000.
Yeah, but they only pay council tax on the property. They don't pay it on the individual. If you see what I mean.
Yes.
If they were paying it on the poll tax, everybody in the flat where my son lives, because he's at university and my daughter live, would be paying £1,000 plus whatever it's gone up to now.
Right. Well, I don't really want to get bogged down in an argument about poll tax, but I'm sure that we as individuals are paying just as much now, or if not more, I would guess.
Well, as an individual, yeah, most probably, but not as a family, I don't think.
Sorry, I was just enjoying the dreg ends of that perfectly sweetened cup of tea. Yeah, well, anyway, getting off the poll tax.
Yeah.
What were you saying? That we've all taken a day off before. That was your point, right?
No, we haven't taken a day off before, but we've rebelled before, haven't we?
No, well, I suppose
when
so.
they changed it from their poll tax, she gave Heseltine the job of changing it from the poll tax to something else, and he changed it to the one we've got now.
Council tax.
Council tax.
Oh, and everybody's so much better off. Yeah.
Well, you say that. I mean, I'd be paying around about.
I know, $3,000. Yeah.
$3,500, $4,000. But if
well, I don't think that. No, this isn't the sort of group action that I had in mind. Not just people whining, people actually saying, right. That's it. Downing tools.
Well, people have been to prison, haven't they, because of it?
Yeah.
The old dear has been to prison.
As individuals, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bill, I'm sorry, mate, but I've got to move on. All right.
All right, yeah, sure, man.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers, bye.
I didn't really want to get bogged down in the poll tax. How about Sutton? Hello, Jamie.
Hi.
Jamie.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Do you know, Nick Ferrari must be terrified because that was a very cogent, interesting conversation just then with the poll tax thing.
Yeah,
and
right.
The drunk man. So, yeah, so how are you anyway? How are you?
I'm all right, Jamie. Just a thought.
You know what?
Stop whining.
Listen, I was just thinking, okay, so who's at the bottom of the barrel in your eyes with regards to this this thing? Who would you put?
What, he was drunk? You can barely express a thought. Who's the bottom of the barrel in what?
I know it's not very fair. I've got a speech impediment.
Not to my ears, you don't.
I do have a speech impediment. I've got a very large tongue, thank you very much, and I don't appreciate the fact that you point that out. I was going to ask you a question. If you would answer it, that would be very polite.
Yes,
Who
Jamie.
would you put at number one of this whole thing? I'd put Chris de Burgh.
Chris de Burgh?
Yeah.
What, the Lady in Red?
Don't even sing that. I think it's disgusting.
What, Lady in
No, don't
Red?
do that. I said to you, he was bad as him.
Who?
Christopher. I can't say it.
Say it.
No, because I swear. No, I won't swear, but no, I just wanted to say that you've been putting down Tracy Emin.
Tracy Emin, yeah.
Well, I'm a massive fan of hers. Why don't you like her?
You're a fan?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, please explain your position regarding Tracy Emin.
Okay, well, she put a dead cow in spring water.
No.
No, she
didn't.
And no, I thought that was genius.
She didn't do that. That was Damien Hirst.
He put a dead cow in spring water.
Not spring water, it was formaldehyde.
Why did he do that?
For money.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Jamie, you're making...
Why don't you like Tracy Emin?
You don't even know who Tracy Emin is.
Well, she's a actress. No? Tracy Emin.
You're a big fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sound angry tonight. You all right?
I'm fine.
You haven't been told karate recently, have you? You haven't got the aggression out.
Not for about 20 years, no.
Not got that aggression out because you're very aggressive in this style of radio.
But I am wearing
Compared to most.
I am wearing a black belt.
Are you?
I've got to go.
Have you got a black thong on?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. It's 8:55. Oh, there's no ads. No ads at 55. It says right there in black and white. I am so stupid. I couldn't see it because of the my tongue got in the way. Let's have one in Thurrock. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Nick.
Greg.
Yeah, that great Shakespearean actress, Tracy Emin.
Tracy Emin, yeah. Oh, she's great.
Oh, yeah.
That cow in Springwater, fabulous. Tastes good, too.
I thought it was in brine or in oil or something.
Yeah.
I heard a most bizarre story last night. And I remember that I'd spoken to you about avian flu, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
And I heard this story that it was so bizarre I thought I'd phone you up and share it with you.
About the avian flu, by the way, before you share it with us, they've apparently just invented an injection that will cure, or rather prevent, all flus, including the bird variety.
Hurrah!
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, we can all breathe in our sleep now, can't we?
Yeah, breathe more easily. Tunes.
Now, this was an excerpt from a book that was broadcast on Radio 4
oh, yeah.
last night. And this guy had gone undercover to work for a gang of counterfeiters in China.
Right.
In 2005.
This is a true story?
It's a true story.
Okay.
What do you think that they were making?
Counterfeiters?
Counterfeiters in China in 2005.
Well, now you're going to have to give me a clue as to what the medium... Oh, right. What, flu virus?
No.
What, counterfeiters? Avian flu? Masks?
No. But you can't counterfeit a mask, can you? You just make a mask. It's
the masks might be made up of expensive materials, and they might just make it up with newspaper.
Well, do you know what they were making?
I don't.
Eggs.
What?
Eggs.
Eggs?
Eggs. This was a book about food additives and the way that food has been messed around with over hundreds and hundreds of years throughout history. And these people were getting all these chemicals and acids and food flavourings and colourings, and they were making the yolk and the white and the shell, making it, and they were exporting them to Vietnam.
You would think that the cost of manufacturing a fake egg would be way more than the cost of having a chicken squeeze it out of its...
No, because there were no vitamins. There was absolutely nothing of any worth whatsoever to humankind in these eggs. It was just like a chemistry set in a shell. But they got the technology to make a shell and the eggs, and you could fry them. Apparently they bubbled up a bit worse than normal ones if you fried them. But they were toxic. I mean, they had all this, they had acids in them, they had paraffin and all different agents to make it look and, and feel of it all. And I just found that so bizarre. You know, if you had the choice of sitting in a laboratory over a load of test tubes, or going out in the morning with a wicker basket and grain and going la 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 and having the chicken. And that's what they did.
You really did put me. I was transported to the countryside for a second there, Greg. You did that fantastically well.
Yeah.
I can't believe what you're telling me.
Well, I can't believe it either, and I heard it, and it's from, you know, a published book that's researched food additives and all the skullduggery that goes on, even today, of course. But you know, back in a few hundred years ago, where the horrible things were put in.
Yeah, I'm amazed. But thanks for the shocking news, Greg. Cheers, mate.
Okay.
So they were faking eggs. I'm on about 3 eggs a day at the moment, man. Oh, but I'm all right. I just feel like a bit of an omelette at the moment. That's all.
On 97.3. No!
So, like I was saying, I mentioned it first, and then the news reported it. The power of this programme, eh? 0845 6060 973. Is everybody happy?
Yeah.
That's not the right response. You can tell that you're only 12, you two. Is everybody happy?
Oh, yes, we are.
No. Come on, you're from Essex. You should know this. Is everybody happy? I'll give you a clue.
Is it a trick question?
No. It goes. I haven't let you off the hook yet. I'm just enjoying this nice music, giving you time to think.
We don't know the answer.
Oh, come on. You must do. Make something up, or I'll kill you. And I really mean that.
Oh, yes, we are.
No!
Am I close?
Kind of. Is everybody happy? It
could be anything.
You're rubbish at this. The number is 0845 6060 973. And it says in the Daily Mail here that it doesn't take much to turn a house into home sweet home. What are the 3 things that you'd want in your house in order to make it home sweet home? You failed the first one.
We're still working out what that could be. Sorry.
See if you get this one right. Well, I'll say it again, and you can multitask. Oh no, you can't, can you? Are there any women in the building? They can multitask. You two have to think linearly, right? Because you're blokes. And there's nothing you can do about that. What were the 3 things that would make home sweet home to you? If you had 3 things, what would they be? Most importantly?
A roof on that home.
A doormat.
A doormat?
A nice meal to come home to.
Do people still have doormats?
Yeah, I've got one.
Oh, do? Did you buy it? Did you buy it, or was it in situ when you got there?
No, it was bought.
You bought one?
It's because outside the front door we've got tiles, which in this weather, when it becomes slippery, is a hazard.
Right. Yeah, get you with your fancy ceramic stoop.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to turn a house into a home, it say here. Give us a pint of fresh milk, a pair of tracksuit bottoms, and a nice soft roll of loo paper. Those are the 3 things that people said they wanted most. The survey about home comforts revealed just how modest our desires are. Around 1 in 3 of 1,000 adults questioned said a house was not complete without fresh milk in the fridge. Just under a third said that pottering about inside in a pair of tracksuit bottoms was their idea of bliss. And I completely agree with that, to the point that I now never wear anything else. I know I've probably got a reputation in this building now from the few people that are actually here when I get here, that are wearing exactly the same clothes every single day. But this is my adult romper suit. This is what I potter about in at home. I just have a lot of clothes that all look the same. I don't really wear the same clothes all the time.
That's what Einstein did. He had the same clothes for exactly the same clothes, so he could save time and not think about what he was going to wear.
Correct, yes. Me and Einstein were like that. Virtually indistinguishable mentally.
You are Einstein.
Just under a third said that potting around inside tracksuit bottoms was their ideal of... And after a while, after you get past a certain age, you'll experience this in 20, 30 years. After you give up on the idea of ever getting sex again, then you don't... then you don't care what you look like when you go out. I mean, look at me. I'm a disgrace. He's just not bothered. Because, you know, who cares? And then as you get older and older, then you... in 20 years' time, I'll be walking out of the house with my dinner all down my front. My hair, crazy and wild, and sleep in my eyes.
It's the circle of life.
Yes. I feel like breaking into song. Everybody, it's the... Oh, never mind.
It's a circle.
1 in 5 said it was 1 in 5. When asked, 1,000 adults, 1 in 5 said that the most important thing to them was quality lavatory paper to make them feel truly at home. Britons are even more down to earth when it comes to their dream house. For a third, it's a classic suburban property. This is sort of interesting because all the do it up programs on TV, they all make a house look more or less like a bachelor's pad, right? Everything is painted magnolia. Everything is open plan. Everything is black granite kitchen tops, and the kitchen is in the same room as the living room, is in the same room as what you used to call the front room or the good room or whatever they call it now. It's all open plan, and there's no walls or dividers or any of that thing. Well, apparently, a third of the population aren't remotely interested in that. They just want your classic suburban property. This came well ahead of having a trendy Manhattan apartment, 16%, a yacht in Saint-Tropez, 9%, or Hugh Hefner's Playboy mansion, 6%. These people are out of their minds. TV's Big Brother house, open plan with modern decor and a pool, ranked as the least desirable type of home, polling just 2%. I'm mystified by that. I mean, given the choice of an open plan modern house with that's all on one level, what do you call that? Lateral space.
Bungalow?
Lateral space, yeah, bungalow, that's right. In modern estate agent parlance, lateral space, they call that. In other words, you don't have to go upstairs. No one wants that, with a pool. Yeah, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? 2% thought that would be a good place to live. I find that amazing. We're so 1950s in what we want. Don't you find that surprising?
I'm very surprised.
You're just saying that.
No, honestly, I am. I'd love an upstairs in my house.
You'd love an upstairs in your house?
Well, if I was going to have one, yeah. If I was going to make my own, build my house to my specification.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? You'd have to climb up to get there.
Yeah, but you can do all sorts with that.
What do you mean?
You could have a bedroom that overlooks the rest of the house or something like that. Have you never seen it in Docklands Apartments?
You could have a bedroom that overlooks the rest of your house. What, you mean that doesn't have walls?
Yeah. It's like a duplex apartment.
Yeah. That's a very bad idea.
Well, in case I fall off or something.
Well, no, I mean, if there's just you there, that's fine. But if there's two people there, and one's watching TV downstairs, and one's in the bedroom upstairs, but the bedroom is on a mezzanine level, which is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have walls, and it's just a platform, basically.
Yeah.
Then you're going to hear the person downstairs who's watching TV.
Well,
awful idea.
And what if you got guests?
Exactly.
They can see your bedroom.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that would, I would guess, be disgusting.
Probably.
Women are most keen on clean sheets, freshly cut flowers and a warm bath, according to the survey for a mobile phone giant who would dearly love me to mention their name. Men, meanwhile, favour their DVD collection, the taste and aroma of their mother's cooking. Well, it's, like I said, we're infantile. Many couples actually admitted their idea of a perfect home life would... Many couples actually admitted that their idea of a perfect home life would be having separate houses. No, not just separate beds, mind, in separate rooms, or a large bed that you could you could maintain some distance. They don't even want to live in the same house. The majority of both sexes were firmly against the idea of sharing bathrobes. Bathrobes? Who has a bathrobe now?
Not me, but who would want to share one?
Yeah, at the same time. What's the point of a bathrobe, by the way? Because you're wet, you dry, then you get your clothes on. Why do you need an intermediate point? I mean, bathrobes were Were they not an invention favoured by the Victorians, so that you could get dressed without your eyes falling upon your naked shame?
Well, maybe if you've got the bathroom in another part of the house, like maybe upstairs or downstairs, then you might have to walk from one to your bedroom, and it might be cold.
Right, or in the case of these people who live in separate houses, they might have to take a bus.
Yeah.
The majority of both sexes firmly they don't want to share bathrobes or toothbrushes. They agreed on one other point too. Almost half of both sexes said a fully stocked fridge is a crucial home comfort. But top of the list, a pint of fresh milk, a pair of tracksuit bottoms, and soft toilet paper. We're easily pleased. Streatham. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, hi. Yes, I actually just wanted to talk about the case of people not speaking correct English, because you were talking about Jordan.
Yeah.
Actually, the Americans not understanding what she's saying.
Right.
And it's not, I don't believe it's to do with the fact that people come from a different part of England and they have this accent of working class person. I just feel that the educational system in Britain has so changed so much as compared to the other nations that are English speaking. You understand me? Because most of the English speaking nations around the world still follow that Victorian model to some extent, yeah?
Do they?
Yes, they do. And that's why you find people in India or Australia, New Zealand, they can quote Shakespeare off their head. Whereas you find a kid here...
I doubt that.
I don't doubt it. I can quote Shakespeare, and I lived in Africa for so many years. And I look at, when I ask kids here to quote some lines of Shakespeare, they'll say, oh, I don't know it. And I say, look, you should be led to a place to be executed, because why? You live in England. In Russia...
That seems a little strong.
No, it's not too strong.
Right.
It's a shame, because...
Like I said, I completely agree.
Russian kids, they can quote Pushkin because it's the national poet. The national poet of England is Shakespeare to some extent, I would say, although he's a playwright, but he was a poet in a kind of way. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, for almost 400 years, he's known as the icon of English literature.
I think the key is that it's become cool to be stupid, or
well,
to see.
That's in England.
To, yeah, exactly. I'm not talking about other parts of the world.
Yes.
Right here, it is deemed cool. Even when I was at school, it wasn't cool to be keen. But now it seems to be even. It seems to have been turned around, and it's not cool to be keen. Now it seems it's not. Hang on, I'm getting twisted up here. It's not cool to be smart.
I know what you mean, yes. But you see, I know that at times you have pop culture making people feel cool and all these things. But I mean, the thing is that these people, if they go abroad, they've been laughed at. I have been in a place in California, because I travel to America from time to time, where I've been amongst people that are from different nations, including people from Britain. I pretended as if I wasn't. I've not lived in Britain before. I was born in Britain, but I've lived in other parts of the world. So I pretended as if I wasn't. I don't know anything about Britain. And the guy was just making a fool of himself. Every time they asked him a question of current affairs or English literature, he would make a joke about it. And I just whispered to my French colleague there. I said, look, he doesn't know nothing. That's why he's behaving that way.
I tell you what, if you want a snapshot of what. Of the mentality of the youth today, go to websites, and I've mentioned this before, but it's laugh out loud funny. It's worth half an hour of anyone's time. Go to websites that compare and contrast different mobile phones. And what they do is they ask users to leave their own comment. Usually there's a review from an expert, and then users of the phones will leave their own comments. Read the comments that are below, because there'll usually be hundreds of them, because it's all kids, it's all teenagers, because they're the ones that are obsessed with the mobile phones, right? Just spend a half an hour reading those on the World Wide Wait, and it's just hysterical. Well, actually, it's depressing.
Nick, they'll say that, you see, one thing for you and I, what they will say is that, oh, we're getting old, that's why we're talking that way.
Yeah.
I said, that's rubbish. What my father told me is that in history, we've had bouts of history over the past 6,000 years where some generations that are in the past are better than those that are in the future. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I'm afraid you lost me there.
Okay, what I want to say is that, for instance, when the Romans were here in Britain in AD 10 to 400 AD, they built columns, forums, stadia, yeah, and all those kind of roads, yeah. But when the Anglo-Saxons were here and they were ruling after the 700 AD period, so up to the time before Norman the Conqueror came, you found out that the road systems were so poor compared to what the Romans left us. And that was 400 years before. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Upkeep.
Yes, it was. The Roman roads were clean. They were straight. Yeah, the amphitheaters, the stadia, and this was 400 years before the Saxons came here. And when the Saxons were here and they were in control, they were only living in thatched roofs. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, Andrew, I'm really sorry, but I'm way past the break now, and I've got to go.
Sorry.
But thanks a lot. All right.
No problem, man.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra.
Okay, bye.
This is LBC. It's 9:17. Here's Travel with Will Gowing.
And the M25 tonight, anti-clockwise, has been...
I am to be back in the studio making a picture
again. Hey, Trixie.
Hey, Nick.
Trixie.
Hi. I love your idea of open plan, except for the fact I couldn't afford to heat it.
Underfloor heating is what you need.
Yeah, but you need a lot of money for that, and I don't have it.
Well, then you can't have it then.
I know I can't have it. It's not, I mustn't go into accent.
No.
My ideal place, it sounds absolutely crazy and kooky, would be an old pub and convert it.
Well, absolutely. Pubs are... I would kill to get a pub. Unfortunately, there's a queue of developers ahead of me around the block,
but
because pubs are usually in great positions and they're huge. They've got great high ceilings.
Yeah. Well, no. Those are the new ones. I'm thinking about a really old pub.
Yeah. What do you mean new?
I'm thinking about the really old pubs with the low ceilings.
Oh, you mean old?
Hundreds of years.
Oh.
With the characters.
No, you got to bend down to go through the doors? No.
Yeah. Oh, go on, it's all right. But I like them because you've got your little nooks and crannies, and you can, but you've got your partitions, and you've got all the loos already. You just have to spruce them up a bit and get rid of.
Yeah, I think you'd have to give them a bit of a wash.
Well, yeah, you get rid of all the pee, obviously. But I mean, you've got this brilliant for visitors.
You're just an old-fashioned girl. I can't remember how the rest of it goes.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I would love to live in an old pub.
Well, listen, if anybody's is interested in selling a pub that was built in the last 100 years or so, I'll buy it from you with those massive rooms and the big high ceilings.
You'll buy it from me, or you buy it from them. What, for me?
Well, you haven't got one.
No, I thought you'd give it to me.
No, I don't want one of those the half timbered pubs.
Oh no, right. But I mean the ones with the genuine.
With the beams and the horseshoe rubbing.
No, not the fake. I mean, a lot of them have got fake horseshoes. I'm talking about the ones that have got real.
Yeah, I know. No, I don't like it.
Oh, you're fussy, aren't you?
Because you get drunk and then you walk through from the saloon to the Ingle Nook, and then you bash your head on the beam on the door because they were made for people who are only 4 foot high.
Speak to yourself for yourself, dear. I don't get drunk.
Right.
Not anymore, anyway. So it's perfect for me. And the cats would have plenty of places to get lost in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My other ideal house, I think, would be a double-fronted house, which has got a cellar, and it goes up about four or five stories. You could do so much in the...
They got a lot of those in Mayfair. They're really cheap, Trixie. You want to go and have a look? Yeah.
Well, look, if you could lend me, just if, no,
10 million?
Not.
Something like that?
Oh, okay.
Let me see how much I've got on me.
Yeah, all right. Just a loose change will do.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But I mean, obviously one has to live within one's means. So
no one doesn't. If we don't live within our means, neither the government nor anybody in this country lives within our means.
Right now, and I'm not going to get out of it the way things are going.
Oh well, never mind.
Stop whining.
Never mind, it's all right. Anyway, I was just going to. Have you seen the story about the lady who was making her way up the motorway at 10 miles an hour?
No.
Yeah.
Where was this?
Hang on, I've lost it now.
I can't believe a story got by me.
It was a story.
What, today?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not in the newspaper.
Oh.
This is on the, I've found it on the internet.
Oh, right.
From a newspaper.
Yeah.
Which one was I looking at? I was looking at indigestion busting,
Oh, you have to be prepared before you call.
Well, I was prepared and I lost it.
Mm-hmm.
You made me press.
Oh, that's right. It's my fault.
Anyway, she was going up the motorway at 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And she apparently was being treated by her doctor for fear of driving. and she apparently had multiple sclerosis, and now they're thinking about bringing in a minimum
speed limit.
Speed limit. Well,
Yeah, they have that in America.
yeah. Well, I think on motorways you need a minimum speed
Yes.
limit. You really
70.
You have to go a minimum of at least 30.
30.
Well, I said at least 30.
You can't keep... If you're doing 70 miles an hour, you're going slower than the people in the slow lane.
No, I agree. I'm just saying that if you're in this, if you're in the slow lane and you're trying to sort of get your bearings about you've just got into the motorway, and this woman apparently ended up on the motorway quite accidentally. Make it an absolute minimum of 30.
So, hang on a minute, the story really is that she was being treated for fear of driving, and she accidentally found herself on the motorway.
And she had a sign in the back saying, if I'm going too slow for you, overtake.
She should have had a sign in the back saying...
Yeah, well, she was apparently straddling the hard shoulder as well, so, oh my gosh, 10 miles an hour.
I still like that story that came out last week of the footballer who drank so much that he decided to sleep it off in straddling the middle and fast lane of the M1.
Yes, we went. You told me about that. Yes, last week. Brilliant story. There was another story now, and it's gone from me. Don't worry, these things go into my head and they go out again.
70 miles an hour, I think, is a very dangerous speed. I've said this before, and I'm write this down. I'm right about this.
Right, okay. Go on then.
I think that there's something about the speed of 70. There's something about the rate at which things pass you that sends you into some sort of trance. It sends you to sleep. 70 miles an hour is actually, and someone should do some sort of psychological test about this, it does put you asleep. If you do 100, fully wide awake. 70 sends you straight to sleep.
Oh, that's probably something to do with the heart rate, isn't it?
I don't know, but it's just the things that pass you. I mean, if somebody was to put you in a trance, they would do something in front of your eyes, don't they? They like the watch that goes tick-tock, and there's something about the rate at which the scenery goes by at 70 that is somnambulistic.
It's the heart rate, I think, possibly.
Right.
And also that there isn't any scenery on the motorway to break it up. If they had something interesting happening, if they had some greenery or trees, just to make it interesting.
There's no end of trees on the motorway, Trixie.
Yeah, but not sort of in the places where you'd like to see something nice, like along a country road or something.
What I find surprising is that there aren't more people who, when the sun is low in the sky and is behind trees, and as you go by, the sun is flickering in the side of your face. The people with what's it called when you can't take
epilepsy?
Epilepsy, yeah, that aren't having an attack while they're driving, because I find it difficult to cope when the sun is flickering through trees as you go by.
Gosh, yes.
So 100 miles an hour really wakes you up. Conversely, if you just pootle along at sort of 50 or 60 in the slow lane behind cars and don't worry about overtaking and so on, I find that deeply relaxing.
Really?
And then it almost puts you into a trance as well, but not such that you'll pass out.
No.
But then if you try and overtake, then you can feel your heart rate go up and you start gripping the steering wheel, and I think that pootling along at, oh, blimey, I am a 70-year-old man. It's just slightly too soon.
Oh, dear.
I'm a pootler now.
You're a pootler! Well, there's something to be said about pootlers. You wear the same clothes and you sort of do your rants. By the way...
Smell of cabbage.
People... What?
We smell, pootlers smell of cabbage, don't
Do
we?
they? Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Since I've started eating meat, I smell of ham.
What? Well, yes, you would, slightly. You would notice it for a while.
Yeah.
It's probably all the nitrates and things you can smell coming.
It's either that or the or Issey Miyake's new perfume.
Ah.
The wonderful smell of ham.
Oh, dear. But there's one thing I was... Oh, dear, no, it's gone. I would keep wanting to say things and they've all gone.
A good thing to do would be just to make a little note on a Post-it note, or other notes are available.
Remind me to say this to Nick. Oh, yes. Well, I mean, the reason people don't need newspapers is because you give us all the news. But you give us the news in an informative way.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget that if you can make people laugh, they will remember what you said. So if you want to make an interesting point and you make it in a slightly sarcastic way, people will remember that more than they will an ordinary news headline.
Right.
In which case, the things that you say, which are your rants. If you
Rants?
Like. No,
I've got to go, but here's the news.
On 90, what this is all about?
Forest Hill. Hey, Jill.
Hey, I'm going to talk rubbish to you now.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen the news report. It's from Naples. Angry crowds in Naples have hung effigies of their city officials from lampposts in protest over huge piles of rubbish that have been building up in their streets. And this is because their local dumps are absolutely full. They've got nowhere to put the rubbish.
What, landfill sites, you mean?
Yeah, everything. They've got nowhere to put it. But why is that? Again, being Italy.
Well, waste management?
Absolutely. But guess who's in charge of the waste management?
Well, I think we know.
Bingo.
We know, I think. Who is in charge of it?
Well, in Italy, who's in charge of everything over there?
Hey.
Cosa Nostra.
Yes.
Yeah, well, apparently they're called the Camorra in Naples.
Right.
And, but they're now being called the Eco-Mafia because they've had protests from people, and it's usually, the younger people, which I'll come on to in a minute with you, who have been marching and saying, look, instead of just trying to fill up the landfill and our land or burning this stuff, why don't we come up with, or why don't you come up with proper waste, recycling systems?
Well, it's not surprising that the mafia is in. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not surprising that they're interested in waste management because, particularly now, because there's just so much money in it.
Well, exactly. God. And, well, apparently they've been encouraging people to burn all their rubbish, which obviously is going to cause toxic smoke and fumes and everything, because they're in a win-win. If they burn all the rubbish, then, sort of, eventually there's going to be more space, I suppose, in the landfills, and they'll end up burning all that as well. So, God help the poor people of Naples. And if they don't, then everyone's, just going to choke, and they'll, end up controlling the recycling of it all.
Well, there's another good reason not to go to Naples, eh?
Well, yeah, but it made me think, though, because we're an island, although they're not, Italy's not an island, what is it, it's a peninsula? Anyway, it's,
I suppose, it could be called a big peninsula.
Apart from the bit that's attached to the Pyrenees or whatever. But, they're running out of space for their rubbish. We're just an island. We've got such an increase in population. Where the hell's all our stuff going to go? I mean, are we going to end up doing more or less the same, hanging effigies of, I don't know.
Well, it's a good point.
Yeah,
it's a good point. I mean, it's not like we've got unlimited amounts of space in this country. We're going to run out eventually, you'd think, because it's not. We're not reducing the amount of waste. We like to think that we are putting our little, paper in one little bag and tins in the other. But really, we're still throwing out as much as we ever were, if not more.
Exactly. We're not building enough of these recycling plants to cope. I don't think so. I'm thinking, where the hell's it all going? And eventually, will we end up the same? But it's interesting, though, that it's the young people that are protesting in Naples, not the old people. Or
there is this idealistic, and it's always been this way, really. Before you get old and your ideals get crushed, you do feel that you can change the world. And those are the people who push for a better tomorrow. It's the politicians and so on who see the possibility of furthering either their own career or fattening their wallets.
Yeah.
Who will find a way around.
I know, it's always the young against the mouldy.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, there's a perfect example. Labour have been banging on about green this and green that and don't fly and we're going to charge you more for flying and all of that, right? Labour today was accused of binge flying. After an Evening Standard investigation revealed that ministers have clocked up dozens of internal flights in the past 12 months. These are trips that they could easily take by car or by train, but instead of that, they're going by plane, flying inside this country.
I can't believe I'm defending them, but in view of, and being a a train user for my sins. Believe you me, you know, anyone would fly over taking a train with the service that we get these days. But obviously that's not ideal in any way. But it's just appalling, the train service we have in this country. It really is. I was reading in the papers a comment, an article that someone put in about Eastern Europeans, and he was complaining about Eastern Europeans coming over here. Then he had to do a business trip to one of the Eastern European countries, and he said that their train services work so well. And saying, why don't we have them all when they come over here working on our train services to improve it?
Yeah, but you know, it's like holidays. You go on holiday to a country and you think, wow, it's just great here. Everything's easy, but then if going on holiday and living there, two completely different things.
Oh, I hear what you're saying, but come on, even tourists complain about our train service over here. I think that's going something.
The story continues. The revelation has prompted a furious reaction from environmental groups. The worst offender was the Scotland office, whose ministers took 31 flights and spent more than £5,000 of our money. The Department for Business and Enterprise spent £4,000 on 24 flights. In total, 7 departments responded to the Evening Standard's Freedom of Information request. Many others, including the Foreign Office and the Treasury, either refused to release the figures or failed, like the Department for Transport, to meet the statutory 21-day deadline for responding to Freedom of Information requests. Is it true that if they don't meet their request within 21 days, then they don't have to do it? What kind of a Freedom of Information Act is that?
But also that money they could put towards, that they've been spending on these planes, they could put towards, I don't know, helping in some small way to make the train services better.
Well, perhaps, but none of those people that have been taking those flights are forbidden access to a chauffeured limousine. They could all do it, it's just that they want to fly instead. Because it reflects well upon them. It makes them feel more important, I suppose. I mean, you don't really save that much time, do you? I mean, going to Heathrow, you've got to get there 3 hours before you check it, before you will leave, and so why? Why are they doing it? Nothing.
I agree, and I think maybe they're in cahoots with the eco-mafia in Naples.
Yeah.
But just on a slightly different subject, because this obviously amused me, but anyway, amused me. The new jargon that's coming out from the teenagers.
Right.
And, well, I suppose, you know, you would be classified as an ant-wacky mouldy.
Oh, I know I am. What's that mean?
Look it up, Nick. But you're certainly not vanilla. You're anything but vanilla.
Well, I'm considering being offended.
No. It's a real compliment, Mark.
All right.
Just ask any 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old, they'll tell you.
I'll ask them to stop stabbing me and then explain what this means, yeah. Thanks a lot, Jill.
Okay,
cheers, ta-ra. This is LBC. Here's Hornchurch. Hello, Harry.
Hello, hello, Nick.
Harry, all right, thanks.
Yeah, Harry from Hornchurch.
Hurry up, Harry.
West Ham United. Echo the Moo Men.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I haven't phoned up for ages, actually.
Uh-huh.
I used to speak to Clive quite a bit, but your little song earlier on, Are You Very Happy?
No, is everybody happy?
Is it? Well, oh, bloody hell, I remembered it a minute ago.
I'll set it up for you, and then you knock it down, all right? Is everybody happy?
Yes. No.
Yes?
No.
Yeah.
Go on, set it up again.
Oh, come on, Harry.
No, hold up.
Is everybody...
Well, no, because I'm on the radio now, I've forgot it.
Oh, your mind's gone blank. Yeah, I know, it happens to me all the time.
No,
is everybody happy?
Yes.
Bet your life we are.
Yay! Finally, we've got it.
I told your producer that.
You told him that?
Yeah.
Right, so you cheated then, Raj?
No, Harry didn't tell me anything.
Yes, I did.
Wasn't Harry?
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, we've got...
Well, you bet your life we are.
A domestic...
You know, as I remember, I think you go through every day of the week as well. Today's Monday, Monday's da-da-da.
Da-da-da.
And you get the Friday's fish and chips. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right. It's the way you tell them, Harry.
Sorry?
You're doing very well.
Yeah, that's not too bad, is it?
It's a beautiful singing voice.
Yeah, anyway, before I go, because I'm the Moo Man, and let's drive on tonight.
No.
Oh, look, no.
He gets Fridays off.
Oh, that's right, yeah, okay.
And he's really happy that he is off, I would imagine. He'll be back on Monday. What was that?
He's obviously very happy.
Yeah, you bet your life he is. An 11-year-old boy defended his mother by hitting an attacker with a toy lightsaber, police said yesterday. The man in his 30s fled after being confronted by the youngster outside a bakery in Swardston, near Norwich, officers said. Police said the boy hit the man with his toy after the man punched and verbally abused his mother as she approached her 4x4 car. Officers are appealing for witnesses to the attack, which happened at about 11 a.m. on December the 22nd. PC Allen of Norfolk Police said the incident caused quite a commotion and it is unlikely it would have gone unnoticed. A bloke was attacking his mother and he hit him, this kid, 11-year-old, with a lightsaber. Son, you have to keep your anger in check. Be mindful of your thoughts, young Padawan learner. It's a bit early. Is it too early to go? 9:44. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
Thanks very much. On the M25 tonight, the carriageway...
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
0845 6060 973. I'm waiting. Nothing. But they're all they're all up there.
They don't want to pick up.
Oh, I'm sitting there all on my own. What, Jill and Charlotte and Sam? None of them? None of them?
I'll give Jill another try.
Oh, go on then. Humans will soon be having sex with robots, a top scientist claims. Half the population will copulate with sex machines, and many, and that's not, I forgot what his name is. James Brown is the right answer. Half the population will copulate with sex machines, and many will even marry them, if it's legal, says artificial intelligence expert David. With 40 years... This isn't The Guardian I'm getting this from, by the way. Within 40 years, hot bots will be so lifelike, people will barely tell the difference, he reckons. And they could help millions who are too shy or ugly to find love. He said it will be very good for society. Great sex on tap 24/7. I'd certainly want to experience sex with such a robot, and I'm happily married, he said. Don't you think that they would chafe?
I was just thinking that, imagine there's a technical fault and rebooting is required, or it just kind of shuts down.
That's right. You could switch it off and on again. Yeah. You could turn it off and on again, literally and figuratively. Thornton Heath, hello, Sam.
Hello.
Sam.
I'm afraid I promised myself I wouldn't watch it, but I'm watching Big Brother again.
Don't do it.
I can't help it now. They've got me curious. You need a bunch of geniuses in it, you see.
Well, so they say, yeah.
With Big Brother being like the geniuses as well, I suppose, top of their profession.
Right, who's calling
why
this?
Why aren't you presenting, why aren't you there giving them orders?
Who's giving them orders now?
Oh, I think Matt Lucas is from Little Britain.
Right.
Yeah, but it'd be different one each day, different celebrity.
It's not interesting, though, is it, Sam?
Oh, now I'm going to be watching bits and pieces, and I'll be watching the weekend one.
Honestly, Sam, here's my guarantee to you.
Yeah.
If you nor anyone else in this country watches it, they'll never make it again. We have the power.
I know. I thought, I'm not even going to look at it. I'm not even going to switch it over. I thought, all right, just a second, just see who glues on it. And then I thought, oh no, I want to watch it now. Then I think it's only a month.
It's only a month? They're going to be in there for a month?
I think so, 3 weeks or a month.
I'm surprised that they're putting it on E4. They did the launch show.
I've got digital telly now,
Right.
so...
Well, get you in your fancy digital telly.
I had to, because my other one broke, you see, so I thought I might
I'm sorry to hear that.
digital one. Yeah, I ran over the aerial and ripped it out of the
You
telly.
did?
And I ran out
You
my...
ran over it?
Yeah, because I ran out of my room and the aerial wire got caught in it somehow over my foot, and it just ripped right out of the telly. But it was an old telly, analog. I had it for years, and it was going anyway. It was, on its last legs.
There's got to be something... Excuse me, there has to be something better on than that. Don't watch it, Sam.
Oh, I do watch other things.
They're not going to throw their clothes off and start, you know.
I don't think so. They're being very intellectual at the moment.
Yeah, oh yeah, I bet they are.
There's a brother and sister circus act, and she's doing all her tricks now. Like,
and which part of that is genius? That's just pliable.
She can put her legs behind her neck.
Oh well, then
other things and
I take that back.
Can you do that?
Listen, if I could do that, I'd never leave the house.
And there's Beauty Queen, who's got an IQ of 178.
That doesn't...
5 A-levels, grade 8 in
Right.
1 year, 10 GCSEs, grade 8, and she's a Beauty Queen as well.
She's a beauty queen, yeah. I rest my face. She's not a genius. She's an idiot.
Why?
She's with all that
that's
supposed
just a
intelligence
hobby, I
crammed into her tiny little head, and she wants to be a beauty queen.
That's the beauty bit is just a hobby, I suppose.
No one will take her seriously.
And there's a racing driver, there's a boxer, there's a musician, like a rap musician. There's a fashion designer who designs for the top shows, and they're all aged between 18 and 21, so all the young ones will be watching it. And middle-aged people. I don't know, really.
Don't watch it, Sam. Just turn it off.
I can't now. Oh.
You need to get a grip of yourself and get some.
Well, I exhausted myself doing that ice skating and everything, and I was so tired. I thought,
You didn't want to think.
I did it. Yeah, I thought, just
slump down.
Relax now. Yeah, New Year and relax. I know everyone's going mad about keeping fit and all that. And I thought I'd do a few exercises, but I didn't do any warm-ups. I've got all aches and pains, but it doesn't matter.
But you mustn't grumble, right?
No, I walk a lot. I love walking. I love walking around the shops. It's wonderful. 3 hours, 4 hours at a stretch.
4 hours?
Nice.
What
Yeah.
are you doing for 4 hours?
I know, one shop to another, window shopping, sometimes buying things if I like them. It's nice. You should try it. Wicked Centre's nice.
But bought anything?
You need a whole day, like...
Bought anything gorgeous lately?
Yeah, I bought a nice shirt, pink and purple shirt
I
from
bet that
Marks
looks
and
fabulous on you.
yeah, it's quite nice, It's not a huge size, so it doesn't make me...
I hope it's not mixed fibres, by the way.
No, it's cotton. Cotton's
Right.
nice. You can breathe in cotton. And I bought a watch from Debenhams, and I bought... I didn't buy many things in the sale. There's a lot of summer stuff in the sale.
That can't be. How can there possibly be summer stuff? It's the winter sale.
Summer tops that didn't get sold in the summer because of all the rain.
Right.
No.
Yeah, I suppose that's that's a good point. They haven't sold any of their summer stuff, and they didn't sell any of their winter stuff. I think the high street is screwed.
And I went out on the day when it was pouring. I mean, it's supposed to be snowing, and I got a few sprinkling of snow, and then it turned to rain.
I didn't see any snow. Was there any snow over up your end in Essex, Johnny?
I had a bit of snow, I was cleaning the car and it snowed on it just as I was doing
You know
it.
the weatherman, they have to warn you about these things, because if they get it wrong, they'll never hear the end of it. So they warn you just in case it might snow everywhere, or there might be a hurricane. They do this now because of 1987 storm, because he got it wrong.
Well, he didn't get it wrong, actually. Apparently, the story is that Michael Fish said to somebody who'd written in asking if there was going to be a storm, but it was in a storm in another place. I think it was even in another country.
Yeah, but he got it wrong in Britain, didn't he?
Well, no, but he was referring about a different storm completely. So it was just bad luck on his part that he said there wasn't going to be a storm, but he wasn't referring to here. He was talking about somewhere else. Apparently, that's the story.
Yeah,
and people like you are never going to let him forget it, Sam. Here, listen, I've got to go.
No, the storm was good.
No, I've got to go. But thanks a lot. Anyway, all right. Cheers, my dear. 0845 6060 973. This is LBC.
This is LBC.
On, we're running late!
A group of radical artists who panicked viewers of a Czech TV station by sneaking a nuclear mushroom cloud into its weather report are to be put on trial, prosecutors confirmed yesterday. 6 members of a collective whose name I can't pronounce, whose aims include penetrating public space, whatever that means, are to appear in court this month charged with spreading false information. They could face 3 years each in jail. The artists, for that's what they're known as, sent shockwaves to the Czech Republic in June last year. I didn't hear about this. How come we didn't hear about this? By splicing footage of an atomic explosion into a live panoramic shot of mountains northeast of Bohemia. The fake blast prompted panicked calls to the switchboard of the TV channel CT2, with some viewers feeling that a nuclear war had begun, others suggesting there had been a gas explosion. The impact of the broadcast was compared to Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, broadcast of 1938, in which listeners were led to believe that Martians were invading Earth. Have you heard that broadcast?
No. Was it in the Czech Republic?
What, War of the Worlds?
Oh, no. I thought you were talking about the mushroom cloud one. Sorry.
You're not listening to this show at all, are you?
I was just...
You're drifting in and out. Listeners who took it to be a news broadcast panicked. Several suffered heart attacks. In the Czech broadcast, viewers saw their screens obscured by a flash of bright light, after which an orange, fiery mushroom cloud ascended on the horizon. They said that the aim of its project, which is called Media Reality, was not to harm, but to illustrate how media manipulates reality. In a statement, it said that we are neither a terrorist organisation nor a political group. Our aim is not to intimidate society or manipulate it, which is something we witness on a daily basis, both in the real world and that created by the media. On June the 17th, 2007, we attacked the space of TV broadcasting, distorting it, questioning its truthfulness and its credibility. The group added that they hoped their action would remind the media of their duty to bring out the truth. Yeah, well, good luck with that. It's available on YouTube, by the way. I guess if you put Czech TV station Mushroom Cloud into YouTube, you'd be able to see the weather forecast, which would have been quite alarming, actually. Michael Fish telling us that it's going to be mild tomorrow, and a mushroom explosion is on the horizon right behind him. Yeah, I'm thinking about having a heart attack just thinking about it. So, are you ready?
Ready.
Are you set?
Set.
Then go. What have we talked about so far today, then,
Dennis
Raj?
Wise desecrating war graves, cars in the street.
Dennis Wise didn't desecrate a war grave.
I didn't say he did.
Oh, right. There was a comma in there, was there?
Yeah.
Dennis Wise, comma, desecrating war graves. Got to be careful, yes.
Survey of anti-icons, men's magazines, Blakefield as civil, Men in Hats, Barack Obama.
Men in Hats, oh, they were great. What was their hit?
I don't know. Kids getting away with trouble.
Think.
Land of the Giants, The Golden Age of TV.
Must go faster.
Promotional CDs,
faster,
Kenya,
faster,
Tracy
faster.
Emin, Binge Flying, Child Hero, Sex with Robots, Radical Artists, and we asked, is everybody happy?
You bet your life we are. Jim Davis is next. Hey, Jim.
Thank you. Is it the safety dance?
That's the correct answer.
Thank you.
Yes. Hey, Jim, by the way, are you on tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So I'm not on tomorrow night.
I think so.
You're on between 10 and 1?
Yeah.
Hey, I've got the night off.
Well, you can do it if you like, or we'll do a double header.
No, thanks.
Bless you for that. Almost 10 o'clock then. Thank you to Nick. It's Jim Davis with you, and after the